Hello and welcome to the Board Game Barbecues episode 100. Woo-hoo! If you're listening to this, we have everyone on the show, and you can also watch this because it's going on YouTube as well. So we'll go around the table, say a big hello. We've got Mitch. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are everybody else?
Good.
Excellent.
Mr. Mitch.
Woo. And the second voice you heard there is Connor. How you doing, mate?
Hello, Steve. Hello, everyone else.
Dan.
Hey, mate.
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Fantastic. Jules.
Yeah, g'day.
Sarah.
Hello. I don't sound enthused, but I am on the inside.
Def. How you going?
Hello.
Mike.
Hello, barbecuers.
And that's everyone. Oh, sorry, Adrian.
Doing?
All the important
He
ones.
wasn't watching. That's his
That'll be
fault.
fun.
That's a bit risky doing me and Connor back to back. It's like the same person.
So tonight we are doing a few things. The big thing we're doing is we're launching the Board Game Barbecue Bracket 2.0. That'll be coming a little bit later in the show. But the rest of it might be considered a little bit self-serving, but we're looking back over the last 100 episodes. We've got some interesting things coming up from our community about that. And but before we get into that, it's important to mention that we have a few people we'd like to thank that have had a lot to do with our success and our ability to keep going. And that is our fantastic sponsors and patrons. So firstly, a big thank you to Dean at Advent Games, who has been a sponsor with us probably, I think, since about a month or two into the podcast, which has been amazing. And then Dave and Dan from 2D6, who've been with us pretty much from the start of this year. So big thanks to those guys for showing some faith in us, which has been just really excellent to have a working relationship with those guys. And before we get on to our patrons, it's also worth noting that we have a new competition starting actually started yesterday, which is we are giving away a Marvel Champions bundle this month. And it is the Marvel Champions base box, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and the Wrecking Crew scenario pack. So that is a pretty decent starting kit.
The Marvel Champions bass box is a drum and bass album.
I was just wondering if we're going to throw in a box of IKEA drawers with the.
No. So actually, you know what?
IKEA voucher.
I'll actually do that as well. I've got, because I have 2 copies of Rise of Red Skull, I've got an extra copy of both Hawkeye and Spider-Woman. I'll get those over to Dan and Dave, and they can get thrown in as well. So
there you go.
4 heroes. On top
But
of the base box.
it says not for retail, Steve. You can't be doing that.
It's not retail. I'm giving them away. So as per usual, just go onto our Facebook page and do what you need to do to enter that competition. I say do what we need to do because we haven't actually established how you enter it yet. So the Facebook page post will have that information, but and we'll obviously update you in future podcasts. That just reiterates the fact that we are addicts, not experts. But we need to go to other really, really important people, and they are all of our Patreons. So I'm going to list all of them by name, starting with the people who became our patrons on day 1. So this is actually in order of joining. So it's pretty cool. The first 10 people I'm going to mention here all joined on day 1, which is pretty bizarre for us. So I might, I'll just go through, I'll just say the first name. So a massive thank you to James, Russell, David, Dave, so that's David K and Dave G, Damien, someone called Lisa MJ, I don't know who that is, Adrian.
No idea.
Kevin, aka Bubba, Joseph, Ryan, Shane, Sam, Liam, Thomas, Paul, JB, Stacy, Oliver, Stuart, Jonathan, Pez, Roar of the Mongoose, Lachlan, Matt, Oliver, Vicky, Nicholas, Shoitan, Tom, Joe, Hazel Half-Blood, Jeff, Olivia, Paul, Dana, Glenn, and Harry. A massive thank you to all those people there.
Love
I
you
think
guys.
that was
Yeah.
Hazel Half-Blood too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hazel Half-Blood.
But that's good because
Well,
we
it's
can't
just 2
pronounce
Zs.
stuff here, so we're staying.
We're on brand.
In my
We're on
defense, there's 2 Zs. So that's why I went with Hazel.
Oh, okay. Maybe it is
so,
Hazel.
Yeah, I'll take
Maybe.
Hazel though. But yeah, without you guys, the show wouldn't be possible. I mean, maybe we'd still be doing what we were doing when we first started, but it's we've certainly gotten better because of you guys, and we really appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Which leads me to segment 1 of tonight. And I've done something a little bit sneaky behind all of these other podcasters' backs. And that is I've actually gone to our community and said, hey, episode 100 is coming up. Would you like to ask some questions or make some comments? And so for the next bit, we're going to...
We're all on the hot seat.
Yeah, we're all on the hot seat
Oh,
now.
God.
This could be
Not
rough.
only are we in the hot seat, I've got them all in, and I have listened to all of them once, but I've tried to make a mental note to not think of any answers, so I don't have some sort of benefit or from knowing all this. But we had a load of people respond. So again, just a massive thank you for being part of our podcast.
That's so cool.
And wanting to be part of this. Some of these messages, Adrian, I swear you're going to be in tears for one of them. I know it because when I listened to it, I teared up.
Kleenex.
When I listened to it, I teared up. In fact, we might actually even start with that one because
Don't start
him off.
Start with
Not,
it.
but he won't stop.
He needs time to
hang
prep.
I'll tell you what. I'll do one of the text ones first. I'll do. So
That's right.
we
You
have.
can do it. I'm all right.
So let's just go. I'll jump in here. So here we go. First question, and this one, I know for the second part of this question, it's not going to be me that's the answer. So that's good. So let me just bring it up.
It's like a quick fire round or something. Like,
Okay, so the first lot of questions we have is actually from one of our sponsors, who is also a patron, and that's Dave from 2D6. And he wants to know: does anyone not listen to the show, or only listens to the episodes they are on, or conversely avoids the ones that they are on?
That's a
Well,
good question.
I'll come out of the gate saying I listen to every single one, even the ones I'm on. So I just listen to them all. I love it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'll fall behind if I'm busy. Sometimes I'm catching up. Sometimes maybe 2 or 3 episodes behind, but eventually I'll get around to getting them all done. Yeah, and I listen to everything, including my own.
When I usually skip mine because I'm usually behind, so I try to skip mine a little bit. Or if I'm doing something where I can't listen properly, that's when I'll put the one that I've already been on, because at least I was there for it, and I really want to know what happened in the ones that I wasn't a part of. And because I don't have a lot of time, I'm always like 4 or 5 behind usually. So I normally skip my own and then just listen to them maybe at work if I can on my headphones, but it's broken up.
Same with Mike. Well, it's not going to surprise any of you all, but I only listen to my own. I'm so self-indulgent. No, not at all. Not at all.
That's why when I reference stuff in the other ones, you have no idea what I'm talking about. You just smile and nod your head. Like, yeah.
No, I'm the same as Mitch. I do fall behind because luckily I don't have a massive drive to work. But if I'm doing any yard work or any hardcore marking, I chuck it in and can't wait for every Monday and Thursday.
I listen to all of them, and I sometimes have like little comments and things. Like I'll talk to myself while I'm listening to the ones that I wasn't on. Yeah, I'll be like, oh yes, that's right. If like someone says something great, or I'll just think in my head, I need to bring this up. I need to have this conversation with Mitch next time I talk to him. But then I always forget because my memory's terrible. But I'm like the same as Mike. I put the ones that I'm on like on the back burner kind of thing because I've heard them once. So
I was, when we first started and I was doing the show notes, and I'm a bit behind on the show notes, I know, I was listening to every episode 2 or 3 times just so I could
hardcore
notes and links, and that was
no wonder we have so many listeners, Dan. You're 3 of them.
So and we'll be catching up with all our show notes in the next few weeks for those of you that are missing out. But I also listen to all the Patreon exclusive podcasts as well.
Yes,
Not
I
just
have done
ours. And some of them are awesome.
For me, I kind of listen to it 3 times as well, but that's once editing. And then second time when I realized someone flagged something that I did wrong, so I have to go back and listen to it and fix
chipmunk
things.
speed.
Chipmunk speed.
And
on the chipmunk edit.
But I will say,
chipmunk cut.
That's your normal voice, isn't it? Chipmunk edit.
Yeah, that's right.
It took me a long time to be able to listen to the ones that I'm on, which made it hard because I was
Which is all of them.
But no, at first I'm like, oh, I can't listen to it. I can't. And then I eventually got okay with hearing myself on the radio. But where it's become odd now is that a couple of my family members listen to the podcast, and my wife has just started listening. So hearing it when I'm not listening to it sounds strange. Like the car door opens and I can hear myself speaking, but
not there.
Yeah.
Hey,
I find that strange because that happens in my house. MJ's listening to it while she's in the bathroom getting ready for work, and I can hear Steve Or I might hear me,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm just like, this is weird. Like, you listen to me all the time. I get up at 4 a.m. and ask you to play on Mars. Why are you listening to this? Are you mad? But yeah, I listened to all of them. I didn't used to. I didn't start listening until episode 10, which is the one where I think Connor and Jules did the battle for Oceans and Root. Which was hilarious, by the way, one of my favorites. But I didn't listen to it, but I read something in an article I was reading from Johnny Cash, actually, and he'd said how he didn't like listening to himself. And then he started to listen to himself after he did his first recordings. And that's the best way to improve, by listening to yourself. If you don't listen to yourself, you don't really have a moral high ground. So I have no idea. Like, I still don't know if I'm doing right or wrong, but by listening to myself, I try and cut out the things where I go.
There was some history of that, wasn't there?
Yeah. Oh, we have a history. Well, everybody does. I've listened to some old podcasts from 10 years ago, and there's plenty of that. And even just the sound equipment that we have has definitely aided us being able to talk to each other. And
I was the worst for that. I remember having a conversation with Steve very early on. Might have been after my second episode, maybe episode 5 or 6. And I said to Steve, I've just listened back because I was listening to it for the notes. And I went, I say so often, it's frightening. And Steve goes, really? I've never really noticed. And then the next time I was on, he called me up later and goes, you're right, you say it a lot.
We all do it because you're trying to remember something. That's the problem. You're not necessarily talking about something you know really well.
I never noticed it until I keyed into it, and then I could hear it so clearly. I'm like, oh God, I gotta try and stop that. Or I actually put a post-it note above my camera to say, stop saying
You're trying to recollect, though, a game moment that's happened. So you're trying to remember the mechanics of what happened and who was where on the board and whose turn it was. So there's a lot of like, you're just like, where was I? What was it doing? What was the move? And to a game that you might have only played twice. So there's even that to try and remember. So it's
part of it, I think, is also we were just learning. I mean, we're still learning how to be podcasts, and so it's always that feeling as though you need to fill the air with something. And so while you're thinking, you're umming, just to try and make sure there's no dead air.
I don't know.
I actually listened to episode 1 again just 2 days ago, I think.
Which one?
Which edition? Episode 1.
Episode 0.
It was actually quite good. Like, I wasn't cringing. I thought it was actually really good.
What you need to do is go on to the Patreon exclusive podcast and listen to episode 0. That'll change your mind.
I did listen to that one.
I'm glad you didn't listen to episode 0 before you joined us, Sarah. Actually, you know what? There's a couple of other groups of guys.
Well, it's going to take us a while to get through these questions if that was the answer just to one of them, but it actually kind of feeds quite nicely into Dave's second question here, which is, who is the most professional, always shows up on time, never has sound issues, does prep research, that kind of thing?
Steve.
Before I answer, can you just explain what's research?
It's not Mitch.
I'll take that. It's quite hard because we all have different roles. I think a lot of people don't really understand that. I think we've dived into that in the Patreon exclusives a little bit more. But Steve obviously does a lot of the editing, and he's the host on every show. Jules does all the graphics. Connor does a lot of Instagram stuff. So does Dan, and a lot of Facebook stuff. Mike does a lot of Jose adventures.
BGG stuff.
A
BGG.
lot of other stuff, interacting with other people and BGG stuff.
Adrian does all the talking.
I do all the talking over everybody. If they want to try and talk, I just keep talking.
What was the question again? Can we get back to the question? What was that?
This is kind of like everyone's. I'm trying to sort of say that we all have different roles, so the professionalism on each role is right. Like, I think it's balanced. Mitch does a lot of the Facebook stuff and the admin to Facebook. So
I think if I was going to say who was the most professional, I think in terms of researching and that sort of stuff, it's got to be Sarah. because she does all the stuff for her blog.
Yeah.
Her reviews and stuff on there.
She makes us look good.
Absolutely. she
Or
has
really
a
bad.
Yeah,
she
really
has more
bad.
of a writer's sort of thing. She's more eloquent with the words. That's my vote.
She
With the
speaks good
words.
luck.
She can speak
With
good
the
words.
words.
She
She can
speaks good
She
words.
speaks good words and the stuff and the things.
I
She can
can't
say
read
words
good.
that have got 3 syllables, don't you know?
It's like, have you guys ever read What the Duck?
No.
Yeah, so there's this duck photographer and he's very cynical. Somebody goes to him and says, "Your camera takes really nice photos." And he gets pissed off and responds, "Your mouth says really nice words."
I gotta say, I sort of agree with Adrian's, like what Adrian was saying there. No one turns up late.
Nah.
Yeah.
We all love this so much. We are there and we basically give 100%. Sounds really cliche, but we love it so much. We're like
do.
there, present, and we give 100%. And
Even-
even we're
even-
sick, we still come.
Yeah,
And-
even when we want to turn up late, we turn up on time by accident. It's happened a few times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Although, there was that one time when I really shouldn't have turned up late when I did, which was a play test with like 2 really important people. But we don't need to go there.
I tell you what, I've gotten in by the skin of my teeth twice when we've had guests on, because quite often we have guests at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and during daylight savings, for whatever reason, whenever I looked at my calendar, I'm like, oh, that's 7 a.m. sweet as. But for whatever reason, it was actually 6 a.m. my time, but I had mentally prepared for it to be 7. And both of those times, I'd set my alarm for like a 6:30 wake up. And then luckily had just woken up at like 10 to 6, looked at my phone and there's 35 messages from Adrian going, "Where are you?" And I'd run in and I'd jump on it and set everything up and be like, but almost, I'm pretty sure always we've had it set up and ready to go by start time. And
Yeah.
and to further Sarah's point as well, I think there's been a few episodes that I've had to miss because of family reasons or illness, and I think that's probably the same across everybody. But it always, I feel like I've let the team down. Like I really, it doesn't. It's not a good feeling to be able to have to sit out and say, "Look, I can't make it this episode," because you're throwing someone else in there without any preparation. So we really try hard not to do that. But at the same time, everyone sort of gathers around and says, no, it's okay. Like we can handle this. And so yeah, it definitely makes the 9 of us is our biggest advantage for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's it.
All right. Now,
Crying it, Ed.
so going from all the lovey-dovey stuff, I'm just going to share my screen here. So we'll lose the picture for a moment, but I'm just going to share my screen because I'm going to share a video with you guys. Okay, so our next video is actually from one of our patrons who just lives down the road from me. It's Adnan, and he has sent this video in for us. So I'll just load it up now and spread it across the screen, if that's going to work.
Jeff, Sarah, Steve, and Jules. You've washed up on a desert island with each other, and one of the other's favorite games have washed up with you guys somehow dry. And this is the game that you're going to be playing for months until you get rescued. What is the one game from the other person's collection that you hope has landed, and what is the one game that you wish has not landed?
All right. So this one,
Okay.
I think Adnan, being Adnan, has thought that this is a really good opportunity to start some stuff.
Arguments.
Let the fists fly.
Haven't even got to the bracket yet.
So what do we think, guys? So it was aimed at Jules, Sarah, Def, and myself. So I'll let one of you guys start.
I know Jules doesn't want to end up with Dwellings of Eldervale. I'll start with
I
that.
hope that thing sinks to the bottom.
It's such a big box.
It probably
would
will,
sink.
because all those really
Yeah.
good quality components that it sinks straight to the bottom.
No,
Who actually has dwellings from that group though? Do you have
Some
it?
of the group.
Steve's got it.
Mike's got it,
Steve.
and I've got it. I know I said Mike's got it. Yeah. Sorry, of that group, yeah, just me. Yeah.
No, I didn't. I actually thought it was quite a fun game. So, but this is really tough. Like, I'm just trying to think from Def's collection. Is there any game that I don't
I know.
like?
I hope that the game that survives from Def's collection is Anachrony.
Oh, yes.
Can I
There's
just?
so much in there.
I don't know. So this is the thing. Should we put a caveat on there to say that it needs to be a game that we don't own?
I like it.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, okay. Because I was going to say,
I hope
on
Sarah
Mars,
gets
but I have
Scythe.
it.
Yeah, like that's kind of
Well, on the flip side, I think you know what to go with, Sarah, as far as the game you don't want to save, right, from someone else's collection. It's a layup. It's easy.
Oh,
Binish.
come on.
Binish. Yeah, Binish. And then
not in
Def
this,
can bring
Mitch.
Gaia Project for me.
Good
you didn't like.
choice.
Sorry, do you
But
say
you're keeping
No,
Gaia.
no, to keep.
Keeping
keep
Gaia.
Gaia.
Oh God, no! Don't throw
Keep
that away.
Gaia,
Oh, God, no.
bin Binish. It's
Wait,
easy.
what did you want
bin,
to keep?
Bin Binish in the giblets bin.
What did you want to keep?
I know the one I want to keep, and it can come from any one of your 3 collections, but I don't own it anymore. And that's because all 4 of us enjoy this game. So we could play it together, and that'd be lovely.
Yay.
And that's Brass Birmingham.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Just
100%.
rewind there. Your family must be well posh if you've got a bin for giblets.
Hey, it was your family. It was your Christmas
I
story.
miss what Sarah wanted to keep.
Giblets bin.
God,
Is that Jules?
Did you say a game you wanted to keep?
She did.
Mine was
Yeah,
Gaia.
Gaia
Yeah,
Project.
Gaia Project.
Gaia
yeah.
Project.
Yeah.
I missed it. Overall, everyone talking.
What? Never.
So is that the answer then? We've got
So
Gaia Project. Anyone else want to throw out a down to leave out?
I haven't said any yet. I'd say Eclipse.
You want to keep?
And as much as Sarah may hate me, Mage Knight goes to the bottom of the ocean. Because it's solo. We can't play it.
What?
We can't play it all together, can we?
It's solo.
Yeah.
It's
No,
solo.
you can.
You
No,
can,
no, no,
but
you
you'd rather die
Yeah.
on a desert island and play
Yeah.
4 players. Sure.
Yeah, you probably would. But then again, if we were
Probably
all
would.
alone on a desert island, we would really want the time to, like, we would want to go for like 8 hours, right? So maybe Mage Knight's the perfect choice.
By the time you all finished one turn, the rescue craft would have come and found you.
To
Gone.
be fair as well.
Come
you
back
would
a
want-
year later. We'll get through this round.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like after 6 months of being on a desert island playing those other games, you'll want some solo time alone. So taking Mage Knight into the bush and playing it by yourself is probably the best option because you'll be all
Yeah, that's
sick
true.
of each other. So
I didn't think about that. That's probably correct.
The game that I wouldn't want to have would be Windward, not because I haven't played it, but because it's about space whaling, and that just might give you guys some ideas because I'm a fairly big person, so I might be the first one chopped up for food because we got no we got no
They're
food
gonna
to
use it
live
for your
off.
teeth and gas, are they, mate?
Yeah.
yeah, but you always want to eat grass-fed animals, and we all know who that is.
I was about to say, I'm vegan, so I'm not going to eat you, Steve.
Yeah, but that's true. But I mean, like a fair point, Adrian. We'd probably go with Sarah first because
Yeah.
she's a grain-fed, grass-fed animal.
Exactly right.
But let's be honest, that's not going to be sustainable long term, is it?
How did this turn to cannibalism?
Is there a Children of the Flies game?
There should be.
Lord of the
Lord of the
Flies.
Flies? Yeah, I'm crossing Children, of the Corn. Lord of the Flies.
That's a great crossover, though.
It is.
So we'll recap. Def, what did you have?
Keep Eclipse.
And
Get
Throw
rid of
away
Mage
Mage
Knight.
Knight.
Mage Knight and Sarah.
That hurts me so much. So mine was Keep Gaia Project and Bin Binish.
That hurts.
And Jules.
I didn't actually. I said Anachrony, but then you overruled and said I can't own it.
That's true.
So I haven't actually picked one. Oh man.
Jules, this will pain you, but what about Get Dwellings? It's so big, you can just use it as a boat and just row away. You can just get in
Anachrony's
it.
bigger though.
Yeah, but Steve doesn't have Anachrony.
War of
don't
the
know.
Ring. War of the Ring.
War
Jules?
of the Ring. Good call, Sarah. Yeah, I'd pick to keep War of the Ring, and I would get rid of Dwellings.
All right. And then I said, what did I say? I can't even remember what I said.
Brass. You said brass.
Brass.
Mm.
So that means we're left with Brass, Gaia Project, War of the Ring, and Eclipse. I'd be
Solid.
Pretty solid
Yeah.
lineup.
That's a good mix.
Yeah, I'll take that.
So when's this holiday?
Yeah, exactly right.
I ain't throwing out dwellings that easily. All right, so we might do an audio question next. Let's just bring that up. Friend of the show who's been on a couple of times, Ollie, has sent in a few questions. So I will. Firstly, Ollie's got a congratulations. So we'll do that one first.
All right.
And I will make it so you can see us because at the moment you can't see.
Well,
us.
hello, folks. Ollie from Board Citizen here. Just wanted to say a massive congratulations to you all for hitting your 2K subscribers and also 100 episodes of the podcast almost simultaneously. What a great effort. I'm continually impressed by the innovation and effort you put into making the show great, but also how you're uniting the small island nation of Australia, suburb by suburb, through a shared passion of board games, arranging all the game days and special guests and competitions and things like that. It blows my mind that this has pretty much all happened within the space of a year. As a special thanks, I've uploaded a little Easter egg to my TTS version of Matchbox Empires. I'll also upload to my Instagram as well. I hope you like it. Anyway, keep up the good work. Look forward to meeting you all at some point, as well as some of the guys from the community, some of the game days and events, and the prospect of me getting to play Twilight Imperium is edging ever more closer to becoming a reality. Have a great episode and can't wait to hear it. Thanks very much.
All right. So for
That's
those,
great.
Hang on.
just put up a photo.
Is one of those Connor?
Yes.
That's one of us. That's all of us.
What?
That's
Yeah.
everyone. I can see it.
So we got Connor
Yeah,
and
for you, the brain.
I'm the
That's the brain.
ghost over
DK.
Parliament
Told you I was
House.
smart.
I'm the ghost over Parliament House.
yeah, the evil one. Yeah, we got the Hyper Viper there. We've got the hot sauce index, which I'm guessing that's what it stands for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then we got
chili.
the player on the left with a little arrow pointing to the left.
Yeah.
And we got Mike with his Frankenstein head and hat sideways. I'm guessing that's Mike.
Zombicide.
Zombicide. and
yes.
Abomination. And then Adrian with his green top. And I thought, I'm like, I don't think he didn't have a very prominent moustache, but you do. But I think it's also just that your mouth is open. I think that's what he's going with.
And he kind of does look
I
like
actually
Mario.
have been inspired to try and grow a handlebar moustache.
Please do.
in that
Yeah.
picture.
Please.
I don't know how, but
And you're
I'll
wearing
try.
a hat, and you're always
Dude,
wearing a hat.
It's the
so-
same color hat as the bloody picture. Look at it.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't actually wear this hat on the thing that often. So.
Steve, it looks like you're really enjoying that building.
Yes.
I actually thought he was like, hang on a second, I just need to go to the toilet. I'll be right
I
back.
was going to say he's thrown out his back or something, but anyway.
That's amazing. Thank you, Ollie.
That's
great,
really
Ollie. Thank
cool.
you so
Love
much.
it.
Yeah. And we've got
Oh man.
another one of them here in action.
Wait, which
as
one was
well.
Dan? The
Dan's
IRA.
Player on the left.
Yeah, playing with it.
Yeah, it's got my tattoo on there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we've got this one, which is them in action on TTS. So we're going to have to
Oh,
play it on
that's
TTS.
cool.
That is so awesome.
The Hyper Viper's funny as well.
Yeah. And of course, we've got our because it was thanking us for the 2,000 followers and the 100th episode. So we've also got the special.
Nice.
Really
cool.
cool.
100.
That's
Oh,
really
that's
nice,
very
Ollie.
cool.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ollie. Thank
That's
you.
great.
And well, seeing as though we all love that so much, so let's go to Ollie's first question.
Hey guys, I have a question for you. So, how did you all meet? I mean, 9 awesome people coming together on Australia's greatest podcast would have to be statistically on par with the formation of the Spice Girls. Something we've not seen. He's thank you very much.
I beg scary.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be Old Spice.
You should tell that story because Steve's the founder. Like, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
As luck would have it,
Yeah.
and it was luck.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
it was a bit of a strange thing. The most disappointing thing that's come of this is that I went back to look for that comment for when we have our 1 year anniversary, and I deleted it because after I got you guys, it just became too many people asking to be part of it. So I turned off comments and then I got private messages. So then I just deleted the post altogether, which means I can't bring it back up in my history. So unfortunately, I don't have a record of it. But essentially what happened is I just went onto the Australian Board Game Community Facebook page and said, I'm looking at doing a podcast. I've tried some stuff just myself and it's not interesting with one person. Just want to have anyone else who is interested in talking about games. I'm not after people that have been around for a long time. If we get some of those, great. But, if just people who are genuinely interested and want to talk about games. And I got 8 responses, 7 of which are with us here. We also had another person who just didn't quite fit what we were working for. So they graciously jumped off. And then about 9 episodes in, I think, or on the 10th episode, Sarah joined the podcast as well. So that was the BBQ 9 at that point. So none of us had ever met each other beforehand. We started chatting on just on a Facebook Messenger chat for a couple of weeks. We talked about what we could do, what we would talk about, what segments we'd run. And we were all just sort of making it up as we went along. And we're all getting along so well that it was kind of a surprise, definitely to me, but I'm sure to all of you guys, to think that 9 random strangers in a hobby that's not necessarily the most extroverted hobby, to have 9 people who want to just sit around and talk board games was quite amazing. I think one night we caught up and had a drink.
We had that first Zoom call.
Yeah.
And I remember I said to my wife, I said, look, I've got to jump on this Zoom call for the podcast thing. I'm like, look, 30 minutes tops. It's not going to be long. Well, this will be in and out.
That was your mistake.
I don't know these people. It's not going to be. We're just going to touch base on a few things. And she was like, okay, no problems. And like 3 hours later, at like 1 a.m, I came out of the office. I'm like, oh my God, that was crazy.
Did everyone have Adrian continually text them after he got off the meeting?
I remember Adrian
now.
This guy says bro a lot. Like, it was like, hey bro, how you doing, bro? I'm like, he says bro a lot. He must be cool.
I was like, I literally have warned you all. I was like, if I have your phone number, I am going to call you. If I'm driving around at work, I call people. I get bored real easily, really quick.
There is nothing quite like an Adrian conversation where you can hear him shoveling dirt while he's talking to you.
And that's in my own garden as well. Like when I'm at home, I'm like, just phone you guys. It's like
who were the first to meet in person? Was that you and Mike, Dan? Or was that you and me? Or maybe
Mike, it was you guys. It was Mike and
you popped
Dan.
by my work because
I swung past Mike's because I found out that he doesn't live close, but he works close. So I swung past one day, and then I came over into your place, Steph. And it was actually we played Ollie's Matchbox Empires. That's right.
But I think Mitch was the first to meet everyone. He gathered the Infinity Gems.
He did the rounds.
Yes, I got all the Infinity Stones.
I also I sent
gotta catch him all.
I sent Dan Steve's phone number once as like a contact number. I don't know if you remember that, Dan, because I was like, you're like, have you got Steve's number? So I just sent you my phone thing, and I don't put anyone's normal names in my phone. I don't do that to anybody.
Yes.
And
what did you have it as? That's right, it was Nick Fury.
I put Steven as Nick Fury. And I still have it like that now.
Which begs the question:
what are we all?
What are we in your phone?
Well, I have to go through it, but
I don't think you have my number yet, though.
No, I don't. I don't have individuals. But yeah, there's. Yeah, it's kind of a random thing.
It's just 666.
Fair call.
J666.
Can I jump in for 1 sec? I just decided to scroll up for some laughs on Adrian's and my messenger chat. And I just scrolled all the way to the top. And I'm looking at a message of Adrian saying this, because I think this is special for right now. Hi, bro. Number 1. Are you somewhat tech savvy? I have made a Discord server. I think we can have 100 people join it.
And that was before we even did a Discord. And now Jules has done that. And it's completely different. Like I made one the day before we all met, even before that phone meeting. I was like, we need something. We need to be able to communicate fast, not have a Facebook group. We need rooms. We need to do stuff. And
that Facebook group went mental. Yeah, like
from
0 to like.
In fairness, so did Discord, but still.
At Discord now, I go to work, and if I ignore one channel for a day, it's like you have 173 messages in that one channel. And I'm like, how's this happening?
For anyone listening to the podcast who's not a member of the Discord, you are missing out.
We're in there all
best
the time.
things that we've done, and this community continues to give. It's awesome. We're very grateful for everyone who gets involved in our Discord community.
I'm having to forcibly turn it off because I'll take a phone call from work And the people on the other end of the line are like, "What's that noise in the background?" Because it just continues.
Ding, ding, ding.
It just doesn't stop.
We've had a few episodes where I've been driving my car, being like, "Why is my Discord going off?" And it's someone's Discord going
Figure
off.
that
the
out.
back of the
Yeah, so that's pretty much how we joined, and we actually only met each other for the first time. All of us met each other. So Mitch obviously broke the record, but everyone else we ticked off everybody at the retreat only a few weeks ago. So. That's what's been incredible. Is it's not like I've rung up all my mates and gone, "Hey, we should do this." What I will say though is that I did hit up my brother before I hit up you guys.
Nice.
So,
is there a episode point?
No,
Yeah, 0.5.
I just I said, look,
-1.
I've been because it's no secret that I tried a few things beforehand and I wasn't really happy with any of them. So I just rang him and said, look, I just want to talk about board games because where I live and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, look, I'd love to, but I run a business and I'm also a teacher. I just don't have that kind of time. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. And that's what made me think, oh, well, I'll put it out there to the masses. And I put it out there and I literally expected no responses. I expected people to be like, oh, whatever. There's so much content out there. Why would you want to try and get into this? And I either got people saying they wanted to, or a whole bunch of people, some of which are still fans of the podcast now and patrons and all the rest, just said, can't wait. I can't wait till you guys actually do this. I really hope you get a group together and you can do it. So right from the start, the community was there. So
I remember scrolling past it and I'm like, oh, podcast, that sounds cool, but nah, wouldn't be good at that. Like, I got intimidated. And I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, and Kevin Smith always talks about if you like something, just pick up a microphone and start talking about it because other people love it too, and share your passion. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And I messaged Steve, like, can I still get in there?
I want to hear Sarah's side of the story and how she got recruited into this craziness.
Actually, yeah, it's funny. So that was one of our listeners, Rosie. She actually put me onto it. And I think, she'd seen that she was fairly new to the hobby as well. And she's really dived into board games, which is fantastic. And so she saw the post and she saw that there were a lot of dudes signing up for it. And she was like, Sarah, you know a lot about board games. You love board games. It would be so good if you were on it too. And like, yeah, females, girl power and all that stuff. So I was like, okay. I'd never even considered doing a podcast before, to be honest. I don't know why. I just hadn't considered it because I was doing my like blogging and, just kind of as a side thing and something fun to do. And then by then it was like you guys had already sort of formed. And so Steve, when I got in touch with Steve, he was like, well, you need to audition for this. And I'm like, oh, this is so professional.
And then you found behind the curtain, it's a load of rubbish. And like, what a shambles.
Sarah saw the monkeys on the typewriters and like all that stuff.
But has anyone told you what happened after you sent through your demo though?
Oh yeah,
because you sent through it was like a sample.
It was Tashkala, yeah.
Tashkala,
and we listened to it, and somebody said, I honestly can't even remember who it was, said, hey guys, this sounds 10 times better than what we're doing. Not sure how that's gonna.
Do we want to have that on the show? Well, what was even funnier is that I'm not some sort of Mark Holden character who wants to get people to audition. It was just that we had somewhat of not a bad experience, but just an odd experience just before that. And it was kind of like, I'm not just going to say yes to anyone. We want to make sure that this person can talk on a microphone and hold a conversation. So we better ask her to send something in, which is hilarious because the rest of us just went, oh yeah, we'll talk about board games. That sounds good. So the only one who had to audition.
You had to, because it would have been really uncomfortable to go, oh yeah, jump on, and then after an episode just go, oh, it's not working out. It would have been difficult to backtrack that, right? So,
yeah, 100%.
But I got to say, at the time, it felt really weird being completely amateur and asking someone to do an audition. It was like just Who are we to ask someone to do that?
Hey, look, we had 9 episodes at that point and over 100 downloads. So,
wow!
All of them.
But that was all Connor's family.
I reckon it's easily one of the best things that's happened to the barbecue to get the hot sauce. So.
Yeah, 100%.
Can't have a barbecue without sauce. That's for sure.
And what I'm most proud of is we've somehow managed to bring you down to our level. That's
Rockin'
Yeah, I don't think we have, Connor. I think she still outshines us.
All right. Well, I think it's time for another one. This will be a good one for you, Connor.
Hey, podcast crew. Jonathan here. My question's for all of you. If you had to be put into a classroom environment and teach a game to a group of students to teach a particular skill, which would it be and why? Just interested from the perspective as a teacher. Thanks, guys.
Well, I'm going to answer that one for Connor because he's already done it. Stealing stuff. Sheriff Nottingham. Teaching kids how to steal.
Yeah. Hey, I was just showing them the life they had left to come in. That's what I was doing.
Yeah, he was in detention to teaching them a game about contraband.
Detention.
The Youth Justice Centre. It's fine. It's all good.
This is how you smuggle it, kids.
Yeah.
They're like, no, this is how you smuggle it.
It's street smarts, okay?
That's it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question, though. Like, I mean, I don't think I've really. I mean, obviously, not being a teacher, I don't think I really put too much focus on the skills that you get out of games when you play them. I just enjoy playing them and having a heap of fun. But there's definitely go on.
So I was going to say, I think cooperative, like something cooperative, just to show kids that you. All right, Jules, calm down. But no, because
Jules's horns grew 1 inch when you said that.
A big skill that comes from that is being able to work together, and like you see a lot of people who might be able to play a game but not enjoy it if they lose, or winning is so important. I think that group activity of trying to achieve something together, and at the end of it, high-fiving each other because you all achieved it, or losing together as a team, I think that would be a very beneficial thing for kids, and I kind of think of what game that might be, like might it be Pandemic, or might it be like Marvel United or something, but the whole theme of having something that's cooperative is what I would pick.
Or even maybe something like Captain Sonar, where you've got your 2 teams, so you're working cooperatively within your team. You've each got your role and area of responsibility, but then you're also going against the other team, competitively, who are also trying to work cooperatively. It gives you the bit of both of those things.
I briefly spoke about this on the Matt Leacock episode. I might take my uncle's angle and just go with Monopoly because it's a cruel rat race out there, and the sooner those kids learn it, the better.
It's a brutal world.
I think the first game I thought of was Cosmic Encounter, just for that negotiation aspect, learning to negotiate and bargain and deal with people.
Backstab.
Yeah, yeah, of course, but no, but just learning to negotiate and communicate better with people. I think any negotiation game, but Cosmic Encounter definitely has lots of those moments.
Yeah, I think you did gravitate towards negotiation and stuff like that. Just for me, it's funny because I think about my background, and I would pitch like some escape room games and things, and learning to think outside the box.
Nice.
In terms of, because that's a really good skill to have, and a lot of those exit and unlock and those sorts of things, they force you to look at not just look at what's in front of you, but look at it from different angles and different perspectives.
Yeah, and have an attention to detail with those ones.
I've actually had the pleasure of running a couple of games in classrooms, and I've found like a big game of Telestrations where you build your own, like you can only play it once because obviously you've got your own pads, but having like it's hilarious when 8 people do that. It's ridiculous when you have 25 do it. The thing you get at the end is stellar. But when I was at school, I remember doing poker in maths for probability. And I don't know if I'd recommend poker. I think that has some other, other underlying things that come with poker, but maybe just like a trick-taking game or something like that, where you're teaching people to not only understand what the game mechanics are, but also try and remember and recall things and make decisions based on what should happen. So yeah, maybe like trick-taking games like the Crew or Niet.
Yeah, I wouldn't play Niet with Mitch though.
Don't start me.
That's just a public service announcement. That is
Still angry.
I'm not the one that dragged me down.
Mate, I just thought I'd get in before you did.
I agree with you though, Steve. Anything that's math based is phenomenal. Like I have to say, like I've definitely noticed Finn's math ability is really good for his age. Like he sits in the car and writes down his 6 and 7 times table. Like 1 times 7 is 7, 2, and like he knows all that through the games.
Yeah,
Mitch knows that. Mitch knows that too because he's got that smartphone.
You need the smartphone thing. Yeah, he's got that. The best player in the world.
It's funny that you say maths though, Adrian, because the games that I think kids learn a lot from but are the most fun are actually ones that test their English skills. So, for example, code names is an absolute ripper in the classroom because they have to think and they can't just say, oh, well, they can't, and they have to use one word and try and link as many words as they can. So it makes them think really, really critically about, right, how can I link these words together? And if they just say one clue, well, your team's going to lose, aren't they? Because you can't choose the one clue. Other ones like Decrypto are great. But I think probably the one that's had the most sort of fun and they've also been able to learn something out of in terms of coming up with synonyms and things like that has been Just One. Because if you come up with the same as someone else, it's gone. So you need to think, right, and these kids know each other better than other people will know. So it's like my mate is going to write down that word. I know it because it's his favorite thing. So I'm not going to write that down. So I would say Decrypto, code names are Just One, especially if you're looking at doing some literacy in the classroom. You can't go wrong with those three.
The good thing about Just One is that you can play it with everyone. Like you can have, that's an unlimited number of people in that game. So yeah. Anyone else?
I was thinking of more simplistic things when that question came up. I thought when I played with my girls, games that teach them about geography. Me being a cartographer, I gravitate towards that. So a game like Trekking the World, because it is easy enough to not distract them from the actual, learning the locations. And then there's a little text that says, this is what the Temple of Teotihuacan is about, and then you ask them, where was that? Some of them, they remember this was in, the Americas or whatever. And anything that has to do with geography is just something I'm passionate about. So, and with board games, it's, that knowledge gets sucked in very, very subconsciously and easily.
Well, how many kids learnt their map reading from playing Risk and knowing that Russia is right up there, like that's where Russia is and all that stuff.
I thought you were going to say Carmen San Diego.
All right, well, we'll have another question then.
That's a great question.
Good.
All right.
Very good.
Thanks, Jonathan. Okay. All right, it's time for this one. This is a long one, but it's pretty special. So I'll put this one on.
Hey guys, Liam here. Just wanted to say to all of the Board Game BBQ crew, congratulations on 100 episodes. It doesn't feel like 100 episodes. It actually feels like much more than that, because the brand that you've built is so strong, and the community around the team and the way that you guys have all clicked as a group, it just feels like such a mature thing that you've developed, and it's hard to believe that this whole project is only roughly a year old or so. I never would have imagined as a punter the first time that I clicked onto the Board Game BBQ podcast that it would become something so big in my life, that I would become such a part of the community, that I would get to know so many new people. I think that's one of the amazing things that you guys have done. The vibe that you bring, the welcoming feeling that you bring to the community is just amazing. The Facebook group, the Discord community. One of the surprising things for me is the friendships that I've created through my involvement with the Board Game BBQ just as a community member. I've had the luck to create some great friendships with some people on the podcast and some people in the community, and just really happy about that. It's so hard to make friends these days, and I've made some really good friends through the Board Game Barbecue and the communities that surround it. So shout out to all my friends out there in the Board Game Barbecue community, and thanks again to the Board Game Barbecue crew for creating such an amazing, welcoming environment that can help people create friendships in days like these. I just want to acknowledge all of the hard work that you guys do. It's amazing just how prolific you are, all of the work that you put into the podcast to get the amazing guests that you get, to come up with all the topics, to do all the research that you do. There's just a lot of work behind the scenes, and I'm really amazed that you guys, it just shows how much passion that you have for board gaming, that you put so much work into this project to share it with the community in the world and to bring people into the board gaming hobby, and I'm just really inspired by all that hard work that you do, so thanks for that. And I just want to put a call out. So I'm a Patreon member. I'm happy to, give some financial, recompense to you guys because of just all that hard work. And I did not, no one asked me to say this. Don't have any official, quote unquote official association with Board Game Barbecue other than being a punter and a friend and a fellow gamer. And but as a Patreon member, I'm just really happy to support you guys. I know all the hard work that you do. I know all the investment that you put into creating this project, and I really want to see, as a Patreon member, I really want to see that this project is sustainable. I really want to be sitting here in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 5 years' time, celebrating the success of the Board Game Barbecue in those years ahead. And I just encourage anyone out there in the community, if you want to support these guys, jump on the Patreon, because I really want to see this be a sustainable project, and I really want to support these guys. So yeah, look, guys, just love what you do, appreciate you, acknowledge you. You're a part of my everyday life. So happy to be friends with you, be a part of the community, be gaming with you, be contributing. I, Liam Stewart, swear an oath to support the Board Game Barbecue for the next 100 episodes. And I hope that everyone on the Board Game Barbecue crew can swear an oath to do at least another 100 episodes. Come on, guys, go the double century.
I hope that's the one that's supposed to make me cry, because that was awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks,
awesome.
Liam.
Good.
Thanks, Liam. Like needs a hug.
He looks like Robinson Crusoe. I haven't seen him for so long. He's got a big beard. I was like, he looks very dashing.
It's pretty special when he says, that we're part of his everyday life.
Yeah, that was a kicker.
Yeah, that really, it makes it all worth it. And one of the things that we love, like we always talk about offline, is we're like, oh, we didn't go into Discord for a while and everyone's having fun and they're all so lovely and they're all just, great friends. And that was just something that right in the beginning we didn't expect to happen, but we're just so thrilled that that happened. And anyway.
Remember early moments when we saw people in a game room and we're like, oh, there's people playing games and it's not us.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're becoming friends, it's a beautiful thing. And that really warmed my heartstrings. Thanks a lot, mate.
I even think back to the very first time we got a Discord member and we were like, what are we going to do with them?
Right, it was more like, who's this? Is this someone's brother or mother or sister?
Kind of someone from your family. Their username, yeah.
My other cousins, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But it's amazing because when you create an online community, it's easy to get lost in the online world and treat it as the whole. This is the whole of it, except it isn't. In our case, we have so many people that met offline and are now friends and have relationships. And Liam's message was very touching because it reflected all of that, and that's amazing to see.
I remember the first time I met Liam physically was actually at Adrian's place just before Christmas. And it's so true to the person you just saw in that video. He said to Adrian, I want to come around. What do I need to bring? And Adrian's like, don't bring anything. It's like, no, I just can't come around and bring nothing. And Adrian found out that his partner is Mexican. So he's like, oh, I'll just bring some kind of like Mexican dessert or something. And he's turned up with these, like, I don't know how much time was spent in the kitchen.
Thinking about that as well as soon as
like, he just went to that level right from the start. It was this amazing delicacy that's from Mexico, and they were just, my kids refer to him as the donut man.
Not the muffin man, the donut man.
That is your official role with the
absolutely.
They weren't even donuts, but they were kind of like donuts. So whenever I say, I've got people coming over for games, they're like, is the donut man coming?
That was really special. Thank you, Liam.
It was.
Yeah, thank you, Liam.
Awesome. I was just going to say, I'm glad it all comes across as like hard work and professionalism, because I'd say we haven't had 100 flukes, but hopefully we'll have 100 more flukes.
Well, that was
a lot of work, but the result is a fluke.
Yeah.
The call to action, though, I'm down for that. I'll swear to do another 100 episodes easy. Yeah,
so easy.
Yeah,
I swear to give the man a hug next time I'm in Brisbane too.
Yeah,
It'll be stacks on.
What a legend! What a legend!
Thanks, buddy.
Hard act to keep him a fan, Mike.
What was that? What was that? I missed that one.
That's timing, man. You can't.
Well, just listen to the episode when it goes live. You'll hear it. All right. So hard act to follow, I'm sure. But I have another great someone who's been on the show as well. Sent us a message. Also a patron. Any guesses?
Jane.
James.
Not quite.
Joe.
Stacey.
Stace.
All right. So firstly, she says a few nice things. She says 100 episodes in 12 months. Wow. Congratulations. And she said, my question isn't really aimed at one member, more of an open question for anyone. What is one game you've really enjoyed that you never would have considered looking at if it wasn't for the influence of another barbecuer?
Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Really?
100%.
Nice one, Mitch.
100%. Yeah, because there's no solo mode, so straight away it was off the table for me. It had sort of been bouncing around for a while, and it was pretty popular. But I watched a couple of playthroughs and was like, yeah, no solo mode, doesn't really excite me, nothing fantastic. And I think you guys were super high on that game when we first got together. And I played with Steve and Dan.
Yep.
Like, I think it was one of the first games we played on TTS.
It was, yeah.
And I think I'd bought it by the end of the game. One of my first purchase pen experiences.
Yeah.
And since then I've decked it out. I've got bits. I've got all the inserts. My family bought me extra kit.
That's right. They bought you the insert. They really blinged it up, didn't they?
Yeah, with all those little Meeple University, Meeple Realty, not University, Meeple Realty. The little drawers and the stands and the book holders and stuff. So yeah, 100%. I'll put that game down to you guys for sure.
So the one I'll bring up is due to the determination or stubbornness of one of these people, and I'll say it's Root.
I knew that was coming.
I love the game now, and I've got the base game, I've got the Underworld expansion and the Clockwork expansion, and I'll pick up the rest down the road for sure. So I thoroughly enjoy this game now, and I love it to bits.
Yeah, easy one for me, because before meeting you guys and before talking about board games, worker placement was really foreign to me, and playing viniculture, Steve, but just the other day I finally played my first proper in the flesh Vitala Lacerda game with Def.
Yeah, I've been meaning to ask you about that actually.
Kanban EV. You can ask Def how'd it go, Def?
Oh, I came in last.
You came last, Def.
You came last, yeah. Who won? Who just remind me? Remind me who won.
He's a good teacher.
He is next.
We're very humble here at the barbecue.
But there's no way I would have played something like that before meeting you guys. I sort of dipped my toe in the water and starting to play a few worker placement games. And I've mentioned before that I was sort of getting a bit of a taste for it. That was like the ultimate plunge for me. The other day was playing a proper Vitala Lacerda game. So
nice.
I think half my collection has been influenced by you folks. Like I just started really gravitating to everything. But if I had to name something recently, at least, like roll and rights was something I wasn't really thinking much of, So
and solo ones, mate.
Oh God! Every time I play a game solo, I'm like Mitchell, like this and. But no, just look, actually, not perfect example. Playing solo, just even trying a game solo, something like that. Hearing you guys talk about it, pushed me to do it a lot more. But my whole taste in board games has been curated through this thing because I jumped in on this so early in the hobby when I was just buying anything that was cheap and near me on Facebook.
Anything or everything.
Everything.
Let's go with everything. But since then, just this podcast has helped me learn what I like. It's helped me learn to look at what I like in board games and to, now Renata gives me crap because I'm like, I love Phil Walker Harding games. And she goes, yeah, you're such a fanboy. And I'm spitting out names of UA Rosenberg where before it's like, I like that game with that thing in it, like
next minute.
Yeah. My taste has grown so much, and I'm really thankful to all you guys because you've helped hold my hand through this process and bring me up in the hobby, and it's something that's such a huge part of my life and my personality now. You know what I mean? Like board games mean so much to me, and I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for the rest of you. You know what I mean? So it's board games. We've said it before. Helps me get over. I'm going on a tangent now, but it's.
So wait, did you pick a game or not?
All of them.
Not yet.
Look at it. Look behind me, mate. The Board Game Barbecue owns me like 10 grand. Like there's so many games on the way to me, mate.
And that's where he was getting at. Expense everything, Steve.
Exactly.
Yeah. With well, the one for me that sticks out, and I've got a lot of games because of you guys, but the one that sticks out for me is Cartographers. Because I wasn't interested in that game, to be honest. And I think Mitch sizzled it early on, and I'm like, I was like, do you need to have played, is it role play? I think it's the role play universe. Do you need to have done any of that? Like, I just not at all been interested, not looked at it, didn't think about it at all. And then we played that 10-player game at the virtual gaming con. And I bought that before that game was over because I just had such a good time. And I never thought, I think Mike's talked about this before, I'd never thought putting polyomino shapes on a piece of paper could create such a ruckus. That was just mental. So that was definitely the one for me that sticks out. I would not have tried without the podcast.
That was a great night.
There's been a few for me recently, actually. You guys wore me down with Root as well. So the same situation as Jules. I think basically it was at the same time as Jules as well. Like Jules was all of a sudden converting to Root, and my friend bought it. And so we were playing it. So I think it was kind of like in parallel, in tandem to that. And then most recently, it was Scythe. Yeah. No, because I know when Paul Grogan was on the show, he was saying that Stonemaier games get a lot of like hype. They get overly hyped sometimes when they get a new game out, and that can scare people off. And I'm kind of in that boat as well. And I also kind of thought with looking at what type of game it was, it wouldn't be really great with 2. And I do try and get more games that are good with 2. And it's great with 2. I'm loving it. And yeah, I'm a convert. And then really recently it was Fleet the Dice game. So thanks for showing me that, Mitch. and Def showing me the second half of the game because I only played half a game with Mitch.
Mitch. I think mine would be a more recent one. That's Teotihuacan with because I think you mentioned it early on, Steph. I was like, oh, this kind of sounds cool. And then Adrian, were you doing a deep dive or something?
Yeah, I was playing it a whole heap. Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, dude, I'll play it with you. And you explained it to me. I was like, oh my God, this game's amazing. And yeah, and then I remember going to the game day and I was going to see Dave, and I was like, hey Dave, you got Teotihuacan in stock? Can I pick it up from you tomorrow? And I think that night before I played it at Adrian's house. So
you played it on the Friday, and after the first round, you went, "I'm getting this." Yeah, it's like that's what I say usually. Like I'm getting this.
It was infectious. That's why.
Yeah, it's a great game.
That was actually my first oath. That was episode 1.
Oh wow!
Yeah, right.
Oh wow!
The series of mispronunciations continue.
For me, I think it's pretty much anything above a 4.0 on BGG because I've got addicted to a lot of those. But I think Barrage really started it off for me, like playing something heavier, and that did start on TTS.
I remember that game. I remember that game, and I remember your reactions afterwards, Adrian.
I was like buzzing for 4 days. Like on a...
And we actually streamed that game.
Yeah. You taught it to us, I think, Sarah.
Yeah.
You teach it.
Do you put that down to one of our podcasters though, Adrian, or do you put that down to one of our guests?
Yeah, it's a podcast.
Well, he spoke about it, and Isaac Childress spoke about it, and then Sarah was very, very interested in. Sarah had a lot heavier games than I had, so she'd done the research, and I don't know if you'd learned it yourself or you just read the instructions.
I think I played one game only.
Yeah, and then you taught a bunch of us, and I just loved it. I was just enamored with it. I still am, and I really implore people that have the base game that enjoy it to try the expansion, because the expansion is phenomenal. And I still love it to this day. I think it's a fantastic game. And that was all introduced through this whole thing, whether it was Isaac that started it, that led on to Sarah, but then that's led on to On Mars and Pipeline and Escape Plan and all these other heavier games that the other person that I currently live with, MJ, is just addicted to these heavier games now. So it's just something that I wouldn't have thought I would be able to teach somebody else. And I taught Barrage at a game day to 4 new people who'd not played that, and a couple of people at the table hadn't played heavy games at all. So it's I think Barrage would be the one for me.
And you were a big time co-op player when you joined the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. And I never played very many competitive games at all. We're just talking about that just the other day, Sarah, on that Patreon episode. That that's why I'm really excited to play Unsettled, because I'm going to go back to playing a co-op game that I haven't played for a long time. So,
for me, I think there's only one right answer to this, and that's I think it may have been the first game I've played with any of you guys, and that was with you, Mitch and Adrian. That was Fleet the Dice game. And Mitch, you had set up your camera above the
I remember that.
Rolling the dice
onto a table with a webcam.
It was like in an envelope box or something, wasn't it?
And Adrian kept going, "Is that a cod? Tell me it's a cod. Is that a cod?" So it's something that has stuck with me because it changed my perception on, complexity meaning always better game, which is definitely not the case. And I like my complex and heavy games, but Flick the Dice game, Mitch, has changed a lot of things. How much games I play solo, but I've introduced it to many people and everybody loves it. It's fantastic multiplayer, it's fantastic solo, and it has opened up that gate to similar roll and writes or flip and writes. Otherwise I would have bypassed that category completely if it wasn't for Fleet.
We'll be careful in saying Fleet the Dice game because Mitch's head isn't going to fit on camera soon.
Well, there's another little game you've been playing lately too, Jeff, that I think you've sunk a bit of cash into as well. That
I thought about mentioning Too Many Bones, but Too Many Bones is also an extremely popular game. So, Fleet is something that defined, a lot of influence into what I'm looking at in games since.
Just off the back of that as well, who here backed Three Sisters off the back of Fleet?
Everyone.
Wow. No, it's just Sarah and Mike, isn't it? Was it just Sarah?
Boo.
I wanted to, but I'm a one Kickstarter per month person this year. So
that was me backing
too,
four
but
other
off the
things.
record. I'm 13 months ahead at the moment.
Just don't tell Mark.
You're so advanced, Dan.
I'm up to January next year. Just 1 a month.
Very good.
And it'd be remiss of me as well not to say Aeon's End, Sarah.
Yes.
Getting me right into Aeon's End and sucking me right in, and I've got almost the whole shebang up there on the shelf now.
Have you really?
I love it.
The whole thing?
Yep.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's so good.
I just want a quick mention here too, because this person didn't get me into this game, but playing Marvel Champions with Connor at the retreat was one of my favorite gaming moments. I love that game, and I loved it before, but after I love it even more because Connor, I just want to play games with you because you were so excited, and it was. I know I've already mentioned on the podcast previously when we did the retreat episode, but just that situation where you're like, you can do this, and then I'm going to come out with this, and then come out with this, and that's why I love the game.
He'd clap at the end though. He'd go, "That's why I love the game." There's a clap, and like I've never seen someone stand up so many times for no reason.
Yeah, true.
It's like I'm standing up. There's stuff going on. Look out! Look out! It's just great. I love it.
I honestly think, and I've talked about, coming out of that and Seb loving it, but I think the reason Seb loved it was because of that environment we created for that game. So
yeah. It was great. If you'd said you're going to teach virtually 2 brand new people a game with 5 players, like it could have gone terribly wrong. Oh yeah, Seb had played before, hadn't he?
Yeah, but he didn't like it much.
No, so that was one of the best parts of the retreat for me too, was teaching it and then it being so much fun.
All right, I think just because we got a few, I'm gonna do a question that's just to Mitch. No, I got plenty more, man. Plenty more where that came from. This one is aimed directly at Mitch, so I'll just share the screen again. Get rid of Liam.
Big Hammer's nervous.
Where do you get your bacon bullets from?
The people want to know.
Are they really bacon? Are you a closet vegan?
Then
They're
not bacon bullets.
Yeah, they're like bacon. That's not what they say.
All right, now
bacon-esque.
I can't believe it's not bacon.
Yeah.
I think that the not bacon is called fakin.
Yes, that's it.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Okay, so I've got a question for you, Mitch. Now, you've got experience running a Kickstarter campaign. Just sort of wanted to talk about your experiences with that. Any, anxiety you had leading up to it? Will it succeed? Will it fail? All those kind of things. And just any pearls of wisdom that you have. That'd be great. Thanks.
So another one from Ollie there.
Okay, so that's an
It was a fluke.
Well,
it's one more successful Kickstarter than yours, Jules.
Yeah, that's true.
Look, I could probably answer that and spend quite a bit of time on it. It is pretty stressful leading up to. You kind of got a lot of work to do getting there. For those who maybe don't know, the successful one was the second time. So the first time I actually launched, it wasn't successful. I had a little bit of interest, but ultimately it failed. It didn't reach its target. But I learned a lot of lessons out of that, mainly around ensuring that you had done the pre-work in terms of advertising and getting the word out there and trying to just get a bit of a buzz going leading up to, because you've really got the first. I mean, as an independent, someone who hasn't got a big budget or a big sort of marketing runway, you've really got the first day to get that momentum going, and then that's it. Because once you sort of move off that top sort of few sort of pages of the Kickstarter new projects list, then having people scroll down to find your project in the poll that have come since you is really difficult. So learning those lessons, tweaking a few things here and there was sort of what sort of made the difference for me. But in terms of, as you say, Ollie, the stress, it was a lot of work and a lot of effort to get it up and running. The biggest stress came for me when it funded, and then the campaign ended, and all of a sudden I had all this responsibility and money that other people had committed. Just the pressure of honouring that responsibility and making sure that I treated everyone's funds with the respect that it deserved. That was where I felt the most pressure. So prepare yourself for that.
Really, that piece? I thought you would have felt more pressure when your van
caught fire.
Because when that happened, when I heard that, I literally said to Steve and everyone, I was like, he got ripped off. There are no playmats. This is a scam. The factory has scammed him.
Look, don't laugh. That crossed my mind. I had that thought.
I would have been terrified.
As I said, I could talk about it for ages. There's a lot of other things that sort of go on behind the scenes, and even with the supplier that I'd made agreements with prior to the campaign, once the campaign funded and I went ahead to go place the order, then they changed the agreement. They reneged on what they said they would do, and that threw a massive spanner in the works to the point where I thought I was going to be in a position with no supplier. So I had all this commitment to people. And no one that was going to actually provide the content that I'd promised. So there's a bunch of different turns. I mean, as I said, I don't want to take up this whole episode. I'll do a Patreon on it where we talk about all of the intricacies and the ins and outs and the different things that happened. But to sum it up at a high level, that was the most stressful part for me, was just the responsibility of seeing your bank account go, okay, the money's there now. I can't just chuck it all into a bag, grab some Mexican donuts, and head to
put it on black. Here we go.
Across the border.
Oh, red.
Now the rubber's really on fire in the truck, and I've got to go and make this happen. So
just so everyone's aware, we got a video of like a kind of grady, sketchy video of a Chinese person talking and lots of shouting and yelling and a camera, something like our Blair Witch, and he kind of like running down a highway, then like pans up and there's a truck on fire, full ablaze with flames, and apparently they were Mitch's playmats, and I was like, nah.
It would have been so
That's how
cool.
the board game barbecue was born.
That's it.
It would have been so cool if someone had put an animation of an arrow pointing down to it, just saying Mitch's playmats.
So for anyone who doesn't know that story, anyway, the day that the mats came out of the factory and were on a truck to the port to go on a ship to be sent over to Australia, I got a message from the supplier saying, "Look, we're really sorry, we have to start production over again from scratch, because the truck carrying your mats was in a car accident and caught on fire and destroyed." And I thought,
we shouldn't laugh.
Kidding me? This is ridiculous.
What are the odds?
It gives you some insight into saying, you follow these Kickstarters along, and people go, you talk about, there was things that happened that were unforeseeable, that
like ships getting stuck in a canal.
Getting stuck in a canal. Like, you cannot
I can't imagine the anxiety you had when you had to sit down and pen that note to all of the backers. Saying,
you should use your advantage. Mitch's playmats are so hot. This is what's happening.
Did
you link them the video? Did you link them the video to the update?
No. But I'll be 100% honest. We were ahead of schedule at that time. So in terms of the deadline I'd set in the Kickstarter, we were well ahead of that. So I knew we had time to recover. I'll admit, I considered not telling everybody because I thought, they're going back to the factory. They're going to prioritize our stuff and try and get it out as quickly as possible. It might put us 2 or 3 weeks behind schedule, but even 2 or 3 weeks, we're probably still going to be 2 weeks ahead of the schedule that I'd already planned, because we were ahead in anyway. And the only reason I considered doing that was because I was like, no one's going to believe this. Everyone's going to say this guy's just trying to rob us, because that's crap. That doesn't happen.
I'll have to say,
as if that's actually happened.
I was one of the original backers, even before Board Game Barbecue was a thing. So it was really funny on the back end, Mitch going, "Oh, look what's happened to your playmat." I was like, "What the heck?"
But it just, the decision to tell everyone was just like, you've learned since you're a kid, honesty is the best policy. And sure, there's probably going to be some people out there that are going to go, "I don't believe him, that's garbage." But at the end of the day, it was the right thing to do, was just to say, this is what's happened. We're still going to make the target date. And, anyone who doubts that or thinks that that's made up will be, they'll realize that it wasn't a lie once the real mats arrive.
And did you have a little note there, like saying, "P.S. Don't use these mats as a fire blanket"?
They do burn. Don't leave them hanging over your bar heater at night.
Now, I've got another video to show, and this one's really special because one of the things that I think surprised a lot of us was the international audience that we got. Specifically from non-English speaking countries, which was pretty amazing. And this guy is a patron and he's been with us for a while, and that is Thomas.
Hey.
Oh, Thomas.
And I got a video from Thomas, so I'll put it on now.
I love how Connor swoons. Thomas.
He's just the man. He's the man.
It's true.
It will open up, I promise you. All right, so here we go. This is our good friend Thomas.
Hello, this is Thomas from Germany. 12th month the podcast is on air, so congratulations to the 9 of you. That's been a great job that you've done, and we all enjoy it. Distance-wise, we can't meet at the table, so my question to all of you is, what was your favorite gaming experience playing board games online over the last couple of months? See ya at the table. Bye-bye.
What a great question.
See you, Thomas.
Yeah. Dear Thomas, buddy. Man, I had so many because of the retreat. Like that's.
But he said online.
He said online.
I might actually jump in and go first here because I can't decide between two of them, and Thomas was involved in both of them. So I actually met Thomas at the Virtual Gaming Con. He joined my viticulture teach, and it went for so long, like unbelievably long. And Thomas had to leave because he had another game booked. And I just assumed he hated it because I didn't know that he had another game booked. I just had Thomas going, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to go, which made me think, he's probably not enjoying it because it is dragging on a lot. You know, it's a lot of people that were playing, it was their first time ever using TTS, let alone.
Yeah, right.
But we got through it, and then he joined our Discord that night and was just sent me a message saying, how thankful he was for running it, and he's going to see what this board game barbecue thing was all about. So that was really cool because that kind of showed how easy it is to impact people in this hobby. And then the second one also involves Thomas, but also involves Def, and that is a game of Gaia Project we played, where Def ruined his entire game of Gaia Project on turn 1. Def had taught Thomas and I Gaia Project a couple of weeks earlier. And in that time, Thomas had bought it and played it a heap. And then he'd come back, and I hadn't played it since that first time. So Def was kind of teaching me again. But Thomas had progressed not only from I don't need your help anymore, Def, to querying Def on some of his rules.
Teaching the master.
Yeah, I was like, I think you'll find that this is actually the rule. And I was just like, oh, wow. They're like, they're coming to blows here.
With both their European accents, the like heightened intelligence that comes out, as opposed to like me and Connor, who sound like a couple of chimps.
It was
you're from Europe too. Don't forget that. You might have left, but you're from Europe.
Technically, we're not.
No, but it was a little bit like that too, Adrian, because I just felt like it was like, well, I'm going to do this, because I was just in the game, and these masterminds were playing it, and. But what was bizarre though is that I actually won that game, but it was more that watching Def just go, well, I've ruined this game, and spending the next from rounds 2 to 5 just trying to get back into the game, and I think you did pretty well. I think you ended up only losing by a few points or something, but it was just a remarkable experience, and Thomas and I have joked about that many times since. So that was that'd be my 2 online experiences.
I think I'll jump in and say you reminded me, Steve, also Virtual Gaming Con, where I taught a War of Whispers to a bunch of people, and every single person, I'm pretty sure, jumped into the Discord straight away after that and wanted to play again. It was so hot. They were like, when can we play this again? It was a really great experience to teach this, and people really love it. But then the other one that also comes to mind is that game that's never finished, Steve, of Brass Birmingham.
We don't have to talk about that.
But I think that was my first time actually playing a full game of it, because I'd done the beginner variant once, but we never actually got through to the second half of the game. But I was ready for it.
I'm not unhappy about that. Because I'd played that game a few times and I'd always done quite well, but I was doing terribly. Really, so bad, and it's nothing worse than when you're doing bad. It's okay when you're learning and you're like, oh well, I'll know that for next time, but I'm making decisions going, oh, this is an awful decision. I just it was something else.
It was pretty funny to watch, but yeah, it's good times.
I think aside from the that game of Fleet the Dice game where Mitch was looking, or Mitch had his camera set up to show us the literal dice for Fleet the Dice game, we had it must have been a series of like maybe 3 or 4 games of Blood Rage when we first started out.
Yeah,
everyone was still in a really hard lockdown, and we just had some epic games of like come from behind victories, or someone had bought a monster that they were hanging on to for ages and just wiped out. I think at one point Adrian just decided to set up camp in Yggdrasil and just done his full water passage.
I refused to move until I got the Wolfman. I was like, I want the Wolfman so I can say I got the Wolfman. The Wolfman's boss. I had no idea what he did. I just wanted it, and I don't know what happened.
And Jules or Steve, you might know the name of but it's like this dog that just destroys all of the creatures. And JB wouldn't pronounce the name properly; he just pronounced it as rah, 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 rah. So, like, come along. He's like, "Where's rah, 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 rah." It's just so much fun, and I think why I remember it fondly is because that was such a hard time for so many people, like with that lockdown, and I remember those weeknights where I would want to keep staying on my computer to play games, even though I'd been staring at it for the whole day, like teaching kids. So that's why, another reason why I'm so grateful for our community for being there at the very beginning, and those people like JB and like Thomas, who, I consider them friends now through the community.
I think all those Blood Rage games was where the whole "Don't Let Jules Win" was born.
Evil Jules.
Yeah.
Cool.
One of the funniest things for me and the online thing was, I mean, there's so many. Rolling the dice online with Fleet the Dice game, like physically, like I was like, how is this gonna work? And when we saw it, and it was like dice getting rolled on the table, and like the camera would get panned to the side to see what the last dice was and stuff, that was kind of fun. But the one that really stuck out was when it was really early on. I can't remember which virtual con it was during the COVID thing, but when I played It's a Wonderful World, and a couple of guys sat down and started to play with me, and then one of them turned around and was like, "Oh yeah, this is my Oath game," and I was like, "What?" And then he like proceeded to tell me that he listened to the show, and then told the other 4 people around the table that we were this podcast and that we have this really good community and all this other stuff. And I was just like blown away that people like, not only that people listen, but people that kind of hunted out a game that we were hosting and came and played just to talk to us, kind of thing, and discuss, games and community and life in general. It turned into being the most fun game because that dude, he said that he kind of knew, he knew the podcast, but his friend didn't. So me and his friend proceeded to rip on the guy who liked the podcast for about 50 minutes. And it just turned into this massive banter match. And it was just hilarious. Yeah. Had a great time, and they had a great time, and they actually joined our community and stuff since then. So yeah.
I thought you might say one of your favorite times online, Adrian, was the time you fell asleep during a teach.
Oh, there's that as well. Garage. I was like asleep at the desk for like 2.5 hours asleep. I woke up with a scoring like until the first round, and then woke up at the end, and I was like, they were like, "What happened?" I was like, I had to go. There was an emergency.
And that concludes today's lesson. Hope you all enjoyed it.
That actually reminds me of a funny thing. Just quickly before we go to someone else, at the last game at Virtual Gaming Con I was signed up for was the networks, and the person had just started describing the rules, and my 2 dogs started fighting outside. So I've gone, oh, hang on, guys, my dogs are fighting. I'll be back. But I forgot to put I was wearing wireless headphones, and I forgot to put them on mute. So I've gone out there and I'm yelling at the dogs and I'm pushing them away from each other. And I've sat back down. I've gone, oh, crap, I wasn't on mute. And they're like, "No, that's all good. Get into him. Tell him who's boss."
Oh, dear.
The joys of online gaming.
I've got a couple. I think the one that has really, really stuck with me was when we've mentioned these heaps, but it has just stuck with me, is when we all played Cartographers.
Yeah, that's my favorite too.
And it was just so much fun. And I don't usually enjoy online gaming so much because I spend so much time in front of a screen for work all week, and I try to get away from it. But that was so much fun, and I think it helped us come closer together.
Oh, for sure.
It was at the start as well. And the second one was the last time I played Weather Machine. We were play testing it with Adrian, Sarah, and Vital Lacerda. And the other player on the table was Ian O'Toole, who's doing the artwork for the game. And the game was fun as usual. But in that particular game, Ian O'Toole had this phenomenal idea of going for sun contracts. And the sun cards just wouldn't come out. And Vital kept telling him, just forget it, get another one. And then the entire game went by and the card that Ian was wearing did not come out, and I think he lost the game. And so afterwards I was texting him and sending him a message and says, you henceforth going to be called as Ian the Sun Won't Shine O'Toole.
on the back of that as well, the time where I just purely went ice contracts.
Yeah.
It just went for ice contracts just for a laugh. And then Vital started calling me the Iceman. Man, I heard.
Cool.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm the Iceman. I still lost the game by a very long way. But he's like, you try and break my game? Like, because I was like doing like the most random stuff. And I remember like getting up, because we went to bed at like, I don't know, like 1 a.m. after
2
that
a.m.
game.
Yeah.
And I got up again at 5 to listen to the other game, because I like to sort of listen to the other games, the other players, and they started to talk about the Iceman, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's me. I'm the Iceman."
The Iceman cometh.
So funny, yeah. Exactly.
Oh dear.
Well, just like I didn't know that I would love podcasting as much as I do, I also didn't know that I would love online board games. Like prior to meeting you guys and being part of our Discord community, I hadn't really thought about doing that. Like I like video games, I like board games, but never the twain shall meet kind of thing. But yeah, we've had so much fun with it. I played Mage Knight, which is my favorite game, with Thomas, which was fantastic. Oh geez, how many laughs we've had. We've played Cartographers. I think I played it with like all of you guys, and Shane as well joined. It was like, you know, because you can get like 8 around the table or 10 around the table for that. And yeah, like you brought up the Vital Lacerda playtest we did. That was something I never thought that I would get to do, was play online with, you know, like play a game that didn't even exist yet, with one of my favorite designers. Like that just was not on my radar, you know. So it was amazing. Not only was it amazing, but it was just fun, and he was a great guy, and he caught me out when I accidentally cheated and swore at me, which was pretty funny.
Good
I was like, Sarah's cheating us. She's cheating. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Yeah, so many good times. So yeah, if you have that thought in your head that, you know, board games are just for the table, and you wouldn't, you know, you don't want to try TTS or Tabletopia, give it a go, seriously, because I thought the same. And yeah,
well, you're a BJ-aholic, man. Like you are playing games all over the place.
Yeah, and I did play a little bit of BGA, because it was all like fully scripted, and I couldn't really fathom like picking up the pieces, and so now I love it.
Can
you roll the dice, they fall off the table.
Can I just jump in with a slightly different tangent to the online gaming, and just say that some of the best experiences that I've had since joining have just been the times that we've hung out with the community in the Discord channels. We might not be playing a game, but I think we did the where the Patreon members did their top 10s.
Yeah, that was cool.
And we jumped on, and it was just awesome to just talk games and just chew the fat and you know, eat pickles and bacon billets.
That was just you.
And then I think we did one night where we were just like, let's just go in the chat, the hangout, and we just hung out, and a few other the community guys jumped in, and we all just had a chat. And you know, those moments for me are the ones that I look back on and go, they were great. That was heaps of fun. Just spending time with people that are in the hobby and getting to meet new people and, you know, break down those barriers. It was, that's at the top of my list.
That is just another reason, guys, join the Discord. Like, another reason to. We play games all the time. It's so much fun.
Does anyone have any other ones chatting
there, like, you know, for me it was Cartographers as well, but not even just playing the game. Just was it Connor? Was it your board actually kept going to by accident and starting to?
That's me.
That was me. Yeah, I couldn't remember who it was, but I kept accidentally using someone else's board nonstop. But then my favorite part of it, which is the stupidest one, was just right, filling in the information on Mitch's sheet.
I was going to say you kept accidentally changing all the info on my sheet. Though,
No, that wasn't an accident. That was no accident. You know, Lonely Island and whatever else it was.
Who was in the game where like Joe wrote like Mighty Joe Young on his sheet, and then I changed it to I then put like Gorillas in the Mist because it was like Mighty Joe Young and Gorilla, and then I proceeded to try and draw Sigourney Weaver in TTS.
Yeah,
like
that was the one with
like,
Shane as well. That was the 10-player one.
What is that? And I was like, Sigourney Weaver, and they're like, what? Like,
can't you tell?
You would not win Telestration.
The hair, right? The hair was spot on.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so I will skip a couple. I'll just go over them quickly because we are running well late. But Ollie put in 2 other questions. So one of them was whether I've ever played a game of Scythe that I didn't enjoy. And I did think long and hard. I do remember one game where I knew I was stuffed, a bit like Def, where that was in Guy Project we were talking about earlier. I knew that I was stuffed early on, and I didn't enjoy that game as much because I just felt like I was continually crawling back. But I was stuffed because of something that I did. It was a mistake that I'd made. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think I didn't enjoy that game either. I just didn't enjoy it as maybe some of the other games where it's because it usually goes down to the wire. So, and then the other question he had links to Ryan's question, which I'll go to now. So I will share screen again. Apologies if this isn't working particularly well, but we'll give it another shot.
Congratulations on making it to 100 episodes. Woo! I can only imagine how many people in the middle of lockdown thought, maybe I should make a podcast. But you guys actually did it. And not only that, but you kept up a consistent effort and have been successful in a difficult to break into industry. A big thanks to the crew for not only creating an outstanding podcast, but for the welcoming community around the show. Special shout out to Jules and Draven for including myself and many others who moved to the ACT. It's always hard to go to a new city and make friends, and you guys have been accommodating for all of our growing group. One thing I would like to know is that if each of you had to swap collections with one other member of the podcast, who would it be and why? Thanks for the last 100 episodes, and I'm looking forward to the next 100 or more.
All right. So the reason I didn't read Ollie's question out because it was somewhat similar. It was who you would swap a number 1 game with. So, but we can answer either one here. So
that was Ryan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Mike has every single game, so I'll just swap with him.
That's what I was going to say. The biggest collection.
Yeah.
More bang for my buck.
Yeah, 100%.
There's a lot of poop in his collection.
Poop game. Calm down, Mitch. You'll play it soon, mate. Don't worry.
I think Sarah for me. I think I'd swap with Sarah because she's got a lot of oldies, a lot of classics in there too that are just awesome. So
I think I'd either look at this one of 2 ways. So one way is if you were to swap and have a really different experience to what you've currently got. Yeah. And I think if I was to do that, I'd probably pick Def, only because I don't have anything really like in Def's collection, like no Lasada games and things like that. But I think it's probably a tie between 2 people. If I was to swap and be similar, it'd probably be Mitch and Steve, because I think our tastes sort of overlap a fair bit. We've got some similar ones. So if the question was, my collection burnt to a crisp and I got to copy someone's, it would be Mitch or Steve's.
I think I'll echo that as well. I feel like the 3 of us have a very similar taste in games, so I'd probably go with Mitch or Steve. I'll probably go with yourself. Mitch or Connor, or Mike for that same reason, because it doesn't matter what taste you are, you've got them all. Yeah.
Just to close out that menage a trois of. I was thinking along the same lines. Yeah, similar.
Oh, a little love triangle going on.
Oh, bromance.
Connor and Steve. Yeah, I think we've got probably the biggest overlaps there. But yeah, just for sheer volume, even though there would be a lot of poop in it.
A sheer volume of poop.
It depends. Do we get his flatmate games as well? Like, do we get his flatmates games as well? Because that's double again.
His collection's amazing. You guys haven't actually seen most of it, but you'd be very impressed with the sort of range he has. But mine would be Steve. I remember looking through Steve's when we did a little Patreon episode. I don't know if I actually ever ended up releasing that. We were going through each other's our list, and I was like, oh, there's so many games there that I either have and love or want to play. And so yeah, mine would be Steve for sure.
Cool. Anyone else?
Yeah, might be Steve as well.
Yeah,
Just,
right.
I think our tastes are quite similar. Plus, there's some games in there that you've played with Seb and the other kids that are a bit older than mine, and so that'd be a good sort of gateway into getting them into some of the games. Like my boys are some of the games that your kids have already played and enjoyed. So
yeah, cool.
Anytime you want to ship some down to Melbourne, feel free.
Mine would probably be Adrian's because I've given them both the virus and now they're buying up all the Lacerda games. So
I haven't bought a game for like 3 months.
Because MJ's bought.
Yeah. Money, it's crazy.
Yeah. I got a question for you though on that, Adrian. Who does the unboxings? If a new game, like let's say MJ went out and bought, the Vinyos or something like that, and it arrived in the doorstep. Do you guys argue over who gets to do the unboxing in the?
No, she does it. Like if she buys it, she does it.
Yeah.
If I buy it, I do it. But yeah, like it's the thing of like having someone that has a very similar kind of game taste to you. It becomes an argument of what you are going to play rather than it being kind of like, we're playing this or we're not playing anything. Do you know what I mean? Like if someone doesn't really like games, they're only willing to play 2 or 3 games from your collection as your partner. Like it's then like, or we could play Barrage, we could play on End, but then we could play Pipeline, but we've got on Mars. And then it's like, actually, I really want to play Barrage. Well, I don't really want to play Barrage at the minute. And it just becomes a cycle of 30 minutes of discussing what we're actually going to play. Yeah.
So whose collection would you swap with?
Me, I said Sarah, because I think Sarah's got a bunch of like gems in there. And there's some good games in there that I would like to play.
Gems.
I would be swapping with Sarah as well. She's got, a lot of games that I have as well, but a lot of classics as well that I still want to try. So that would be my pick.
Good question.
Anyone, Sarah?
I think I said Mike's because he's just the sheer amount.
Volume. Bang for buck.
You could sell it all and buy basically your whole collection back again.
Some good ones in there. Don't worry, some good ones in there.
I'll sell the zombie side stuff.
That is his collection.
You get a couple of grand just doing that.
You can actually see
Use
the
this
moment where
technical
he's
issue
hard.
to put my table.
Oh, I just remembered another great online moment, and that was playing Zombicide with you, Mike. When I was Prince, so whenever anything happened, I answered in a lyric of a Prince song.
Yes. And I joined.
Trying to get in my big red car.
And Dan
And
joined
I
in as
joined
well.
the game late. And we were going toe to toe with Prince references.
I think, in all seriousness, I think Def has quite a few games that I would love to play and add to my collection that I haven't yet.
Yeah,
I only picked Sarah over Def because Def has more and more games that are like we've both got Anachrony and a few other titles as well that are pretty much the same. So yeah.
All right, now if I was to tell you that was the last one, what would you tell me?
You're a liar.
You're a liar.
You're lying.
Who have I forgotten?
Shane.
Yeah, that's right. So just
best to last, mate. Best to last.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
Just before we get to Shane, it's Shane has been all the patrons have been great supporters, but Shane has bought the first ticket to the Brisbane, the Sydney game day. He bought the first shirt when we put our merchandise up. He sponsored the patron on the first day that the patron went up. I cannot explain how thankful we are to Shane. He's had us around for game days heaps of times.
He came and picked me up when I was in Brisbane. He came over where I was staying. He drove to my place, picked me up, and drove me into the city to play with you guys. And that night we played at Vault.
I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. So he came, picked me up, drove us into the city, played Vault with us, and then dropped me home at the end of the night as well. So
some people don't realize, but I just moved house recently, and they might think it's easier for me to take Finn to school and for logistics reasons, but I moved because I'm 11 minutes away from Shane now. Like I moved. It's just great.
No, honestly, I know it sounds silly, but when we moved down here, we chose this area. But one of the other areas we were looking at was that North Lakes, Redcliffe area. And when we moved here, and then I met Shane in person and met Dave as well, and they both live on the north side. I'm like, oh damn, we chose the wrong side. It could have been playing 4 games every night. So anyway,
Helen was like, yes.
No, because now I drive an hour across town to go and play games at Shane's house. All right, so here we go. This is Shane's one. So this is our last one.
Hey everyone, it's Shane here. congratulations on 100 episodes. That's an awesome achievement. And I personally wanted to say thank you to you all for what you're doing for the board gaming community, not only here in Australia, but also internationally as well. Your podcast is awesome. We love the banter between you all. So on that note, I'd like to ask one question of you all, and hopefully the answer won't take too long. Steve and Adrian, little note there. But I wanted to know, what's your ultimate favourite moment over the last 100 episodes that you can reflect back on and you still have a bit of a laugh about today. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate what you're doing out there, and stay safe and take care. Cheers.
So in case you missed that, he said it was our favourite moment because we all started having a laugh. So
yeah. Can't believe he picked on you for that. That's unfair, Steve.
So honorary podcast member Shane, what have we got?
Favorite moment? There's so many good ones.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick.
I still go back to that trivia episode where that bonk came up, and, and the mic goes, "Oh, but you only played it solo, Mitch." That was it was comedy. It was champagne comedy. That's what it was.
Champagne.
I have to be up there as well with the trivia 3 when Mitch is like, "Oh, Johnny Pack, he wouldn't play that. That's below him." And then when I sent Johnny Pack the link, he just laughed his head off. He was like, this is gold. But yeah, it's so funny. Like that whole bit where you guys just get every single one wrong after the next.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Even Matt Leacock is like, "Yeah, I used to push cubes around on the Risk board," and I was like, and you were like, it's not him. I was like, he says cubes. He has the only guy that puts loads of cubes in his game. Like it was just, it was hilarious. It was really good.
I think mine is maybe upcoming. Maybe it hasn't come out yet for everyone for the audiences. But when we were at the retreat and we started recording the awards ceremony,
oh gosh,
bloopers.
We were only like one category in, and at the time Brad was in our room. And he was just playing on his laptop or something, and I said he's got to get out here. And I went in and I said, "Brad, you got to come watch this because this is comedy gold. Like you will not." And for the next 40 odd minutes, whatever it was, we were just in hysterics. It was so funny. So yeah, I know Dan's talked about doing the blooper episode, and I'm not sure if that's going to be released or maybe I'll get arrested if it does get.
Yeah, it'll be a hard R.
I tricked him. I said I put my hand up to do the edit for the actual awards. I tricked Dan because out of the 50 minutes that was the full material, the awards came out 12 minutes, and there's 40 minutes of bloopers. I was like, you can have that.
We were convinced. We're like, no, it'll take like 10 minutes. It will take 10 minutes.
And it would have.
In there, wham, bam, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Nope.
It would have, but we're a bunch of freaks, right?
A bunch of monkeys.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well,
as soon as you got me started, I was off.
I don't think the world's ready for
no
that.
saving me.
I can confirm that the blooper reel has been edited.
Oh no.
The bleeper reel, do you mean? beep, beep. So good. Patreon for sure.
Yeah.
Look, my one, and it might be some others, I'm not sure, but having Connor tell Stephen Bonacore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That
was
the
good.
production quality of Terraforming Mars was junk.
Yeah.
My God.
That was dang.
And tossing Terraforming Mars across the room.
Yeah. Just biffed it out the camera frame.
Bit of biffo.
Bit of biffo.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. And I've had people who sort of like at school have listened to it and say, yeah, that guy, like, he thought a lot of himself, didn't he? I was like, yep, he certainly did. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, no, but he was great. It was so much fun. And
Well, that's it. I mean, half of that is that Bonacore was the type of person that would take that on the chin and have a laugh. But
that was
you didn't hold back, and that was just brilliant.
What do we say? That was also the Sarah Beard comment too.
Yeah, that was a Sarah Beard one too. Yeah.
We can leave nowhere.
I haven't forgotten that.
Connor's just like hit up. Who was on that episode with Connor and I? Was
Mike.
it Jules? Mike?
No,
I was there.
And it was just kind of like, you're like, yeah, isn't that right? Stephen, Mike. And we're like, you're
No.
on your own with this one.
Dig yourself into the hole.
You straight up dipped out on me, and I was like, Where's my pals?
I think Mitch will have to agree that we're in 5-minute dungeon. Finally, Fleet, not Fleet. Sorry,
Nemo's War.
Nemo's War. That was a great, but like not that moment, but what's come from there. You know, having that continual joke and the frenemy relationship. It's been amazing.
Yeah, and it is the running gags for me that are Because I mean, even I still have to consciously think: is it Maracaibo or Maracaibo? I know it's low hanging fruit, Connor, but it's still it just makes me laugh every time.
Poor Connor, he's getting water jokes and everything. Like,
hey, big shoulders. It's fine, guys.
It's all good. Speaking of Connor, let's talk about werewolf. when Connor was silenced for the first round and then killed the next round, that poor bloke had to sit there and watch how many hours that we played.
But that was that. Like I've said that multiple times. I'm glad that happened to me because I could imagine just if it happened to someone else who just come along, and because I wasn't doing it as a favor or anything like that, but I was like, well, Steve's running it. Like, it'd be good if there was some more familiar people there for him and for the podcast. So I'm glad it was me that it happened to, and we could have a laugh about it. Because some poor person, it's like, this is my one bit of like downtime for the week.
Yeah,
they get silenced and then killed. It's like, this is ridiculous. And it's a great moment.
That was great.
I think one of my favorites was from the trivia, the first one we did, when Adrian put me and Dan on the spot, and we had to sell Hungry Hippos was Dan and Kaplunk was me. And I think we were both kind of hopeless, right? Like we were strategy, deep strategy. Yeah. And I said it was an inspiration for Lacerda and all this stuff. But even that spurred on, like there was been so many comments from the community teasing us about, do you like as much Hungry Hippos?
Another running gag.
Yeah, I love it.
It's the first game I played at the retreat was Hungry Hippos solo edition, because we walked into our room and it was like a travel edition, so it was one thumb versus the other thumb.
I planted that. I'm still trying to sell it.
I think in the long run, Dan, you won. I think Sarah might have won. Or was it a tie? I think it was a tie on the night.
It was a tie.
But there's no doubt that Hungry Hippos has come on top.
For sure. There's
been
more
everywhere.
Comments about Hungry Hippos. Yeah,
for sure.
That's not my fault. That's Adrian giving me Kaplunk of all bloody Kaplunk.
I was just trying to think of games that everyone knew. Well, no one really likes Hungry Hippos. Come on. But it was fun. It was really fun. Doing those trivia things has been a blast as well. Yeah. Like I definitely will work on another one because they are just great fun for all of us.
Yeah. Look, anything that we do, it's all in. It's always a lot of fun.
I've really enjoyed the banter between me and Connor, just clashing with the games from the bracket battle. And I think it was the first time that I called in on the podcast and said hello, gentlemen, and Connor. We've had some great battles.
That montage from Trivia 2, audio for the Rocky music.
And I know I haven't told you what's on the bracket yet, but round 2 is happening, or round 7 or whatever up to. It's on between you two again.
There's only one other way.
Yeah, just another quick one as well, actually, just to do with the online stuff, was when we all played Blood on the Clock Tower. And I didn't really know Sarah that well then. And I ousted her out and got her killed. And she was so mad. I could see her face.
She trusted you.
Yeah. I just the darkest backstab. And I think I even convinced...
It was Connor as well. It was you and Connor. I was like,
we were
I was telling everyone. I was
Dan
like,
was the
Connor
bad guy.
and Adrian.
I was the demon and they were my minions or whatever.
I learned a lot about Dan that night because... He had a chat with me and I'm like, nah, Dan's good. Dan's solid.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't.
I think I convinced Renata and Mark to oust you as well. And I was like, oh, Mark, you're in the trouble at home. Sorry about that. That was great. That was a great game.
Oh, and Jules was like on the fence, I think, right? Like you weren't really sure that I was the baddie and your votes counted as 3. And so Was it?
Oh, did it? Oh
Yeah,
man.
your vote
It
counted
was,
as
it was
3.
all a mistake. You just accidentally clicked on the room that me and Renata were in with Connor or something, and you jumped in the room. So then we just, I just spun it like, she's a spy. She's trying to figure it out. She's a bad guy. And you were like, I was like, get out of here. And you left the room. And I was like, see, she's well dodgy. And then we came out and we're like, it's Sarah. You were like, what? It's so funny. That was great.
It was a great game.
Def,
There
what
was
about
one-
you, man?
There
Or
was
Mitch?
one other online one that we didn't sort of bring up was that night we all played Among Us.
Oh, yeah.
And that one time where it was me or you, someone, bitch. We had no idea what we were doing. We're just like, let's just kill this person, bang. And then straight away they hit the alarm. And like, Connor's goes past. I literally saw him murder someone right in front of me. And I was like,
But didn't we get out of that? I think we won that game because I was like,
I
no,
picked
no,
it.
no,
I'm
I was
like,
there. It wasn't Connor.
It was
What are you
Connor
talking
and
about?
Mitch, and you're like, no. I'm like, and then it was. I think you killed me straight after the meeting. I'm like, yeah. But that was cool too because we got our kids involved, and that was awesome.
Yeah, Finn
And
saw Sarah
Shane's
kill
boy.
someone instantly.
Oh, he was hilarious.
He was so
That's
funny.
right.
The green one. I saw the green one do it.
And then
killed
Sarah
someone.
defended him. He's like, you could hear him whispering to you, going, "No, I saw her do it."
Yeah. And then the time that I killed someone, I killed someone and Shane's son caught me because I killed
Ken's.
someone and then he was like, yeah, it was the green one. He did it. I saw him on the camera and I was like, there's cameras? Like I had no idea.
He was awesome. He was on it.
Oh, he was all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great game.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any other who hasn't gone? Def, have we heard your greatest moment?
Well, I think you've mentioned probably most of them. I would pick either any of the trivia nights. Was just such a good time, and Adrian went into so much, put in so much work to put them together, and we had so much fun. And the other one that just occurred to me as you were talking about Among Us, we arranged a game of Among Us that included our kids. I think Sarah, you were there, and your kids were there, or
Zoltan, yeah.
Zoltan was there, and
Heidi and Sarah,
my two girls were playing here, but I couldn't convince them to go to individual rooms. So you guys would have seen them, playing against each other in Among Us, but they were actually just over here sitting across each other. And they kept whinging when something happened, and I could totally tell what's going on. And I could hear the comments from anyone else on the Discord channel, all of that. But it was just fantastic to get the children involved and give them a glimpse into what our sort of feeling of playing is.
And Zoltan was asking me like every night, let's play Among Us. We were
Yeah.
like obsessed. That started his obsession with it. And Heidi was hilarious because Heidi and I were both imposters. And so we were both in a room with one innocent, and I'm like, okay, well, Heidi's, on my team. So I murdered someone in front of Heidi, and Heidi straight away dobbed me in. It was like she just wanted to win on her own. It's just like, nah, I'm not on your side.
I remember I was sitting at the kitchen table and Heidi was in her room, Seb was in his room. And whenever one of them died, because invariably they went after each other quite a lot, the one who died would come out and go, it's Heidi.
Oh.
Like, I'm not, you're dead. I can't hear you. It's good fun.
And speaking of kids, the episode where Jack, Raph, and Finn, we got them on as well, talk about their games, and they were really shy to start with, and then took a bit of coaching, and then towards the end, Jack wouldn't stop talking. Finn wanted to count to 100, and I was like, "All right, we got to end this interview right now." We gotta go.
Man, we could go on about Finn.
Yeah.
And one of his moments where he's describing the board games, that was such a good segment.
Yeah.
And I can't remember when he was talking, but he's like, and that's all. But I'm still talking.
I don't know where he gets that from. I like the best one as well, where he goes, Skeletor, looks like Skeletor.
Yeah. And you were
and
like,
I was like,
I went to school with He-Man. Didn't you?
yeah,
Yeah,
he goes, I said something like, I used to go to school with He-Man. He's like, He-Man? How do you know He-Man? Like, he's just blasted away by it. Yeah, just... No wonder he never believes me.
Well, that segment was longer than we expected, but I'm sure it was as enjoyable for you as it was for us. That was super awesome. Thank you so much to everyone who sent in their bits and pieces. It was really great. It was I wanted to do it. I want to keep a surprise for all of you guys as well. But what was interesting is that not long after I decided to do that, and I reached out to all the patrons, you guys were like, "Hey, should we get like a Q&A going for the episode 100?" So you all had the same idea as well. And that's because that's what we're about. We're about community, and it was just wonderful to see that so many people took the time. We just did our awards, and we're honoring people's games, and we got less responses for that from people who we want to promote their games for than we did from our own community. So that means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to you guys as well.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Thanks,
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rosie.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't be here.
All right, so we need to move to our final segment of the episode, which is setting up Bracket Battle 2.0.
Drum rolls.
Here we go. So I'm going to go through all the battles, and we'll have a quick word or two on each of them.
All of them,
please. I want to.
Before we start, we'll just go over how this works. So we all put in our 8 games as we did last time, but that left about 9 spots. Was 9 spots left. So I actually went to our podcast patrons again, and I said, "Well, you tell us 5 games each, and the top 5 games that weren't mentioned by the 9 of us will also make the list." So some of these are actually games from our patron members as well. And what I've done differently this time is I'm not telling people who put what game in, so that when we do a battle, not only can people try and work out who won or who lost, but also who put what game forward, because I think there'll be a few surprises there as well. And I just want to, and the other caveat that we'll put in here is that the rules were that you had to have played this game since the first bracket battle finished, and that the semi-finalists and finalists were no longer eligible. So just like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, they changed the rules so that Scythe couldn't win again. So
you say that I don't even know who that is.
Yeah,
it must be a sports reference.
It's just for Mitch, I think, that reference.
Yeah, no, it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in college when he was Lou Alcindor. He played the game so well that they changed the rules so that...
What game?
Basketball.
Oh, okay. Right.
Even I knew that.
Yeah, and the other thing...
So when we said,
the other thing we did was that we ranked them based on their BGG ranking. So the seeding, unlike last time, which was whichever game got voted for the most by the 9 of us, this time it is purely on BGG ranking. So that has led to some unbelievable matchups because, of course, newer games are lower down than older games. So this will be interesting.
So we have to keep a poker face here because we don't want to give away whether it's that game or not.
We'll just talk about what you. I mean, there'll be, put it this way: there's games on here that I didn't put up that I love, so I will fight for them as if I'd voted for them anyway. So yeah.
And then there's Inish.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
No, there isn't.
Oh
no,
Inish.
I thought the community
just doesn't understand.
In the giblet spin.
Okay, so
the giblet spin.
Hashtag giblet spin.
Now, we do need to preface this, like we did last time, that this is not a like-for-like battle. This is literally the 64 games allocated space via their BGG ranking. It is not. We're not comparing like for like. We are comparing 2 games. Which one would you like? Which one do you like more? That's all.
It's oranges and Czechoslovakian traffic wardens. That's the comparison. That's what we're doing, and we're fine with that. So it's cool.
I just say if there's 2 tables set up, which one do you go to play? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
someone said to me
the
once,
first one.
Someone said to me once the first time, that's like asking which would you prefer to eat, steak or pretzels. And I'm like, steak? Like, that's easy.
What are you talking about?
When you compare it to food, I can always tell you which one I want to eat.
All right, okay, and it's important that we made that determination because the first one is an exact game that you wouldn't match these 2 together. So round 1, set 1, Pandemic Legacy versus Hadrian's Wall.
Oh.
Wow.
One of the most all-time legacy games versus the new hotness roll and write.
Wow.
Interesting.
What's Pandemic Legacy's BGG
Three.
rankings now?
Two.
Two. Wow, it's still up there, man.
Now, the other thing we're doing here is we're grouping things. So Pandemic Legacy, the reason I didn't put Pandemic in as a group was because no one voted for just vanilla Pandemic. So Pandemic Legacy only got votes. And there'll be one a little bit later that I'll explain when I get to that as well. But like, for example, Aeon's End is in here as Aeon's End, which also means Aeon's End Legacy. It means all of the Aeon's End. All right. Round 2 or battle 2, this one. Oh, this is a hard one. Cartographers versus Res Arcana.
Oh, Res Arcana.
Hands down.
Don't care. Yeah, that's right. Mages, druids, demon masters.
Def, this is going to rip you apart. The next one. Clans of Caledonia versus Under Falling Skies.
Oh no.
And Mitch, Too Many Bones versus Dwellings of Eldervale.
Bones all the way.
Bones.
And bones.
This one is probably the example of games not being similar, but going up against each other. So we have a Feast for Odin against Canvas.
Jeez.
Now, one thing we didn't have in the last game, we didn't have a lot of old games. Well, we have a game that was released in the 1800s. Crokinole. Crokinole versus Imperial Settlers.
Thanks, Damo.
Actually, Crokinole.
It got multiple votes from our community, Crokinole.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love it.
I love it.
Viticulture versus Marvel United.
Okay.
I was a bit worried there. I was a bit worried.
No Viticulture Vineyards. That would be that was what we had last time. Quacks of Quedlinburg
it's back.
quite well against Viscounts of the West Kingdom.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Now this is the other one I had a caveat for. So the next one, and it's a doozy as well. Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion versus A War of Whispers.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Aeon's End then, and I was about to walk out.
I thought you were going to say Jaws of the Lion
just gonna
versus
leave.
Gloomhaven.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that.
Well,
That's
this
what I
is the
thought was
caveat.
coming.
This is the caveat, right? None of us voted for Gloomhaven, but some of us voted for Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. Now, some of our community voted for Gloomhaven, but I decided to leave it out because Jaws of the Lion was so highly represented. So it's a bit like Pandemic Legacy. It's not actually the grouping. It's Jaws of the Lion going up for that one. All right, next one, Raiders of the North Sea versus Garnchon Clever.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Connor's favorite game, Maracaibo or Maracaibo versus Smartphone Inc.
Oh.
Battle of the Heavyweights.
It would have been hilarious to see that go up against Great Western Trail.
Yes.
Oh, Maracaibo. Yeah.
Only if you sang the intro again, like you did last time.
Dun, 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 Maracaibo.
It's Maracaibo.
No one actually knows anymore.
That's a different song though. That's the dun 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 Maracaibo.
Hey, Maracaibo.
Hey, Maracaibo. Right.
If you sing that, Connor, you'll get my vote.
The
next one is Barrage versus Calico. That's going to be tight.
Oh, Barrage.
Okay.
Another one, which is I'm not giving too much away here. Actually, I won't say who they are. Gaia Project versus Castell.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
You love both of those, Def.
Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle Earth versus Chronicles of Crime.
Oh, interesting.
So two app-driven games. So if people want to go and argue, that's two app-driven games right there.
It is.
There is one set that is sort of
I have to say that
compared.
the selection has evolved, right? It's so different than the first time.
Yeah, it is.
It's so different. And Sarah, just to take it back to totally different things, Blood Rage versus City of the Big Shoulders.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Cities all day. It's so good.
Yeah.
Blood Rage has got to take that for sure.
Well, the good news is that one of them's getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a steep cut there. All right, and the last one of the top half of the bracket is On Mars versus Letters from Whitechapel.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
All right, and then we move into the bottom half of the bracket. The number 2 seed, Brass Birmingham versus Whistle Mountain.
Oh, yeah.
I love some of these battles. They're so cool. Vinyos, I don't know. You tell me, Def. How do I pronounce it?
Vinyos.
Thank you. Versus Ticket to Ride.
Ooh.
See you later, Ticket to Ride.
What do you think?
I don't know.
Ticket to Ride's very popular. I don't know.
Famous last words.
Connor, you're not going to love this one. Marvel Champions, the card game, versus Pipeline.
I'm quietly confident. But
Yeah, I think Marvel's got a big.
I just know
following.
that you really like Pipeline, so I thought that might be like a little bit of a tough one for you. But
I'll deal with it.
easy one for me. Moving on. Eclipse, Second Dawn for the Galaxy. That lovely dice rolling game, all about rolling dice, up against Dice Throne.
Oh,
I guess you do roll
4X
dice.
strategy game, Dice Throne. Yeah. We've got Wingspan versus Archaeology, the new expedition.
Oh,
No.
that's actually
Wingspan's in.
That's a tough one actually, because I really
Yeah.
enjoyed both of those, and I didn't expect to. So, yeah.
Wingspan is so popular.
I know.
Was Wingspan in the last bracket?
No.
Oh, okay.
I know. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
Lords of Waterdeep versus Space Base.
Okay.
Ooh.
okay.
Lords of Waterdeep.
Now, the next one. This is the one. This is the Connor versus Jules one. Because I really want to talk. I really want to see Jules on this episode more than anything. Not so much Connor.
It's got to have Root in there.
It's Root versus Black Rose Wars.
Oh my god!
Oh no! It'll just be Jules fighting with himself.
Exactly.
Great.
That's got to be so interesting.
And the good thing is though that Connor's played Black Rose Wars now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
think
Connor's-
Jules has to put the
Connor's
loser
gonna
on
do-
fire.
Connor's going to do the thing that Eminem did at the end of 8 Mile. He's just going to make you bagged out. He's basically going to say, "Hey, I played Rose Wars. I played it. I know." And he's just going to turn it on you.
I like both games.
Yeah.
Aeon's End / Legacy versus Vindication.
Oh wow. Vindication's pretty hot at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
There's a lot of people in the community that love it.
I think Aeon's End has a pretty good following though as well.
Yeah, I don't think it does.
Twilight Imperium 4th edition also wasn't in the last bracket versus Super Fantasy Brawl.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Dang.
I think this is quite a good matchup. Yokohama versus Targi.
Oh yeah.
That is a good matchup. With the Euros out.
And this is a next one's a Jules. Well, I'm assuming it's a Jules versus Death battle without giving too much away. Anachrony versus Kanban EV.
Oh wow.
It's
Yeah.
heavy. That's a heavy
Heavyweight
matchup.
title fight.
That's
a big one.
That's for sure. Clank versus Baron Park.
Oh no! Don't do that to me.
He's arguing with himself on that one.
Mike has
That's
got
a
his
Mike
own.
versus Mike.
I do have to point out, Mike, because I did say that I was going to try and make sure that no one matched up against each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did also say that I wasn't going to give something away, but Mike did put both of these forward.
Yeah.
But you were also not the only one who put these forward. So and I couldn't make it work otherwise. The algorithm didn't work. I was like that meme with all the numbers going.
The algorithm.
Get it going. All right, here it is. Mitch, do you want to do the honors to announce the next one?
Is this the one that we've already discussed? Is going to be the first one?
Yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Fleet the Dice game.
No. Sorry, the game with the theme song.
Oh, the game with the theme song. Sorry. That's the Diddle Great Western Trail.
Great Western Trail versus Ether Fields.
Oh, dang.
Ooh, that's a big one.
And this one, probably the similar weighted games, Architects of the West Kingdom versus It's a Wonderful World.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll come back to the second last one. The last one is Teotihuacan versus Nemo's War.
What?
Well,
Bye, Nemo.
And the other one that I passed over is the one that we're setting up tonight, which is a cracker, which is Everdell versus Fleet the Dice Game.
Dang.
That
Dang.
is
Mike.
bracket.
I will
Is
go
that
down with the
hang on,
fleet
is that
ship.
the last one?
Yeah.
That's it.
Was there no on Mars?
Yeah, On
Yeah.
Mars was there.
Oh,
On Mars
okay.
is against Letters from Whitechapel.
Ah, okay.
So there you go, guys. That I don't know about you guys, but I think that bracket is so much tighter than the last
Yeah,
bracket.
definitely.
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. They're all tough. They're
Yeah, because we
super
left
tough.
out rubbish, like 5-minute dungeon.
I'm just waiting for the game, the Underdog game that's going to be memed to victory. So that goes out to our community. If you could come up and meme something into victory, then all the more credit to you.
All right.
Yeah.
There's going to be great seeing Mitch lose the first battle. That's what I'm looking forward to
Some
now.
of these games as well have huge community followings,
Yeah.
like Black Rose
Yeah.
Wars and like Root. Like if people shout out to those communities, it's gonna go nuts. People are gonna be like tearing each other down for this stuff. Like that's the thing. Like we do this all in jest, but some people take this thing so seriously.
Yes.
The last time it was madness. I think someone left
Left the
because they were
community,
like-
yes,
yeah,
they
they were
did.
like,
Quit the group.
these are not my people. They quit. Oh, it's full on.
All right. So
Yeah.
the last thing we have to do on this episode's gone super long, and I do apologize if you like our episodes to be shorter. But the last thing we have to do is set up Fleet the Dice Game versus Everdell. So just a show of hands, who's in the Everdell camp here?
It's so hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Death.
Death. That's a 4v5.
Man.
Adrian.
A2,
Yeah,
Brutus.
Man.
That's a
thought I knew you.
4v5 split. There you go.
It's the entire game.
That is
okay?
really
Like,
hard. That's
It
so,
is very hard. It's
Look.
not easy.
So
Can
I
we,
can't, I can't
we,
hear
we
anyone
can talk
talking.
about this
No,
now, right?
they're not
It's
there.
okay to just say what we think. Like Everdell is a masterpiece in looks and bringing people into the hobby, and there's a lot behind that rather than just not just the gameplay, also the componentry, the expansions, just I mean, their fans, you thought the Arkham lot were crazy in the bracket. These Everdells, the Everdellians, they're gonna tear this
Everdellians.
bracket apart, man. They are
They will.
full on. So yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's a better game.
But
That's-
but it is.
Well, are
Wow.
we doing the battle? Are we doing the arguments now? Or are we
Yeah,
gonna...
yeah, let's do it.
It's on.
It's
it
like
on.
it's like I
Bring it
said before
out.
on Discord, right? It's like saying Justin Bieber's better than Tool because there's a billion teenage girls that like him. That's not the case. Tool is a better band. They're more accomplished. It's better functionally. They're more professional. Bieber's just like
They'll melt your face.
it's just sugary faff garbage, right? And
you know what, Mitch?
Everdell's a good game. Everdell's a good game, but take Andrew Bosley out of the equation and it sinks to the bottom.
Oh, true.
Right? Andrew Bosley's carried
Just like
that
I said
game.
on Discord, you're the tool here. What are you talking about,
Fleet the
mate?
Dice game is a rock solid. It flies below the radar. A game that's so it's not promoted. It's not hyped. It's not out there, and yet everyone that plays it goes, "Damn, that is a solid game."
No, you know
Even
what
the
everyone
people sitting
does
here
when
with
they
their
play
hands up
that?
for Everdell can't sit here and tell me that the Fleet's not a great game.
After
No.
someone
I
plays
enjoyed
Fleet,
Fleet.
they're like,
And
hang
it-
on,
it
I need to go to
doesn't
the
have to
chippy and
it
get
d-
some fish and chips.
it
And that's
rides-
all that happens. They're like,
Fleet-
I'll have a number 7 cod and
Fleet,
chips.
Fleet rides on the quality of the game. It doesn't need fancy meeples. It doesn't need Andrew
Squishy
Bosley's
berries.
brilliant artwork. It doesn't need
Oh, but they're good
65
berries.
different overinflated expansions. It's a brilliant game. It eats Everdell in a heartbeat. Will it win? Probably not. Because there's a billion Justin Bieber fans out there.
And they all like Everdell.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Everdell is a great
Fluff.
game, man. I've taught it multiple times, and everyone's left that game absolutely loving it. And yeah, it does look great. And you can't get angry at it because of that, because one of the things we love about this board game is how games look, feel, and play. You know, like we look at all those components. And mate, Fleet the Dice game, I had fun playing it with you. That was a great game. But I don't own it and I haven't been chasing it. But Everdell, man, I've got Everdell on my shelf and I'm back in that big box, baby, waiting to double up on that because Everdell is a great game. And no, doesn't have to have all these expansions, but it's such a great game that they want to invest more in it and we want to buy more of it because each expansion adds to it. It's a great game. It is an awesome game. And that's why it's going to win.
To be fair, Mike, just saying the game is on your shelf is not saying a whole lot. Like there's also a lot of other games.
That's a game that I sought out from this podcast. Listen to Def talk about it, you know, made me want to go check it out. And I did, and I loved it, and I bought it and then keep investing in it because it is a great.
So Def was the one that did the brainwashing then.
Oh, it's all his fault.
Michael's just frozen. I don't know if anyone else has got Mike frozen, but the gods have said that's enough for that guy. The internet gods have said no more. No more.
Instant karma.
Booed him from the server,
his
Mitch.
camera's
That's not fair.
His camera's just inished itself.
Mike himself has ended up in a giblet spin.
Creating our own lexicon. I love it.
I gotta say, I played Fleet recently and I wasn't even halfway through the game when I was like, I gotta buy it. And then I saw how much it was and I was like, oh, maybe I don't have to buy it. But that's not the point. The point is it's really fun. Is it? It was like $70.
No. Really?
At the moment.
Unhappy and left. What's going on there?
Wow.
Oh no, we upset Mike.
Yeah.
Might be in short supply.
But it is a very fun game.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
And look, I think that's one of the things that, like, jokes aside, but that's one of the things that hinders Fleet is that, you know, the first sprint run that they did during the Kickstarter was really limited. So unless you were in on that first Kickstarter, it was impossible to get for ages. It was out of print, you know, and people were screaming for it. And in addition, which they did again a pretty limited one, and because people had been hanging for it for so long, it sold out straight away. So it hasn't had the opportunity to get the exposure of a game like Everdell has. But
they just did the age-old marketing tactic of they've got 1,000 tickets to sell, but they're only going to sell 50. And then that way it's like, oh, I need it, but they don't really need it. They've just like done that marketing scam, I reckon. Like that's their ploy.
No.
The game is good. I will grant it. I do like Fleet a lot. I think it's great. But just Everdell is such a visual spectacle. Like on that table, everybody gets drawn in by that. And the cards and the way that the mechanics work with the expansions is genius. You can add one, take it out, put another one in, put them all in if you want. Like it all works and is interconnected. And I think that's clever.
But the Mona Lisa is a visual spectacle as well. It's not a very good game though.
What's that? Sorry.
And also, I have to say that Three Sisters Kickstarter, the hype around that Kickstarter was all because it was the same, you know, team that did Fleet, and everyone like Fleet has a lot of fans.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yep, straight away want to buy this Kickstarter as well."
But I'm pretty sure Starling Games just said one of the biggest Kickstarters ever, and that was just for an expansion for Everdell. So
no one asked you, Connor.
Hang on. At least 5 of our listeners asked me because they share my last name. Okay, so
Mike was so impassioned with his plea for Everdell that the power went out at his house. That's what happened to Mike.
I told you it's a message from the heavens.
Sorry, Connor. Sorry to steal your thunder. Then
no, it's very no, but it brings up an interesting topic because I know while it wouldn't necessarily knock off Everdell as in my favorites, but I would be playing Fleet a lot more if I could get my hands on it. Which means that if two people are going, well, which one am I going to play? Well, Everdell is probably going to be more available. Does that make it a better game? No, not necessarily. But what I do know is that if I was to present a group of people with a game, I think most of them would be buying into Everdell more. Not only that, the theme of Everdell just shines through. And if you look at the game as a product itself, Everdell is a superior product because it's got gameplay, it's got theme, it's got the incredible world building, the artwork, and the components. And Fleet, you know, it's lovely, but it's pen and paper and some dice. So if you're looking at it from that point of view, Everdell smashes it, absolutely smashes it.
Fleet has world building. It has the ocean, the harbour, and the
fish.
wharf. That's the whole world right there. What more do you need? And
What about the fish?
There's fish. There's crustaceans. There's
There's lovely dice too. The dice are nice.
If I want to go down the wharf, I just go down to Point Richie over here. I don't need to play a game to take me to the beach. Okay,
Can't all live at the pool.
I need a game that takes me off to under the tree and lets me play with the badgers and the moles.
Yeah.
My absolute rage caused a blackout over this even being a question. My power went off.
It was divine intervention to shut up your big mouth. But it was. But Fleet though, in terms of the benefits of Fleet over Everdell, I'm not going to take away all the fanciness that Everdell has, and sure, that's part of the gameplay experience. But the other thing that is setup and ease of play time. Like Fleet, you're into that game within 5 minutes, probably less. That's probably too long. Once you know what you're doing and you understand how the game plays, you could knock out 2, 3, 4 games of of Fleet in the same amount of time you could play one of Everdell.
Yeah, look, Mitch, I'm on the Fleet the Dice game bandwagon here between these two games, but I'm gonna call BS on that argument.
Why?
I can set Uno up in 10 seconds.
I reckon you've also probably put your weight behind too many bones. So it's hard to talk about setup time and pack up time and over the top production and all that sort of stuff when you're also
it's about return on investment.
A game like Too Many Bones.
It's about return on investment. And if you're getting 3 hours gameplay out of a 20-minute setup, then that's good. But if you're getting 1 hour's gameplay out of a 45-minute setup,
yeah, but in saying that, look, I think people will play 1 or 2 games of Fleet, they pack it away. But there's people out there that will play Everdell and they'll leave it set up and they'll play it again and they'll leave it set up again and they'll play it again.
Down and put up.
No, it doesn't take forever. It's because they want to play it and they want to play it more. I think it's a great game.
But don't we all own a game that takes forever to set up? Do one of us actually own a game that doesn't take at least half an hour? Like we're talking about Anachrony and Dwellings and
Feast for
everything
Odin.
else. Feast for Odin. Like we don't own games. You can't judge a game by how long it's going to take to set up because
it's a package, right? It's a package. Like obviously with any game, you're looking at it as a whole. But setup is one of those things you consider in games. Some will take longer to pack up, and set up and whatever. But like I said, it's. If you had a game, Mike, if there was a game that existed that took you 40 minutes to set up and then the playtime was 15 minutes, would you enjoy that game?
Depends on the game. Like, but even if we're talking about Everdell itself, I'm not talking about
Everdell itself. I'm saying that setup has to be considered as a factor in the entire package.
But Everdell isn't that big of a setup.
No,
but put cards on the table.
But a quick setup and a quick gameplay. Quick setup and pack down is an advantage of Fleet. That's one advantage that it has over Everdell.
Sure.
Okay. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Thanks. I win. Let's move on.
But 5-minute dungeon's a quick setup too, mate.
And that stomped out Nemo's War. So
yeah.
All right. So
that.
I haven't had to say this for a while, and I've missed saying this. But if you would like to vote on which one you think is the better game, then you can do that in a few ways. You can go to our Instagram and find our Instagram story and vote on whether you think Fleet the Dice game is better than Everdell or vice versa. Or you can go to our Facebook community, find the post and comment with and choose the emoji that is linked to the game that you want to win and choose it there. I think this is a cracker to start with because I think maybe, I mean, I've played both games. How many people here have played both games?
Yeah.
Everyone.
Almost. I haven't played Everdell.
So
fix that.
8 of the 9 of us have played both of these games. So I think that's probably not going to happen all the time. And I don't know, Dan, maybe you could fit in a quick game of Everdell between now and when the pod.
I don't know. It sounds like it takes a lot of time to set up and pack down.
And if you're in the community and you're sitting there listening to this thinking, "Oh, I've played Everdell," because everyone has, like it's as common as muck, right? So if you're sitting there saying, "Yes, I've played Everdell, but I haven't played this game Fleet. I haven't heard about it," do yourself a favor and get and play it because it's a fantastic game. Join the Discord. tee up
Do yourself a
time with me
favor.
or
Go
anyone
to your
else.
local chip shop, look at the menu, and then you've played Fleet the Dice game. Roll some dice, pick off the menu.
Hit me up. Talk
What's
to.
interesting? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, talk to Joe, talk to Sarah, talk to Jules. These people that I've taught this game to within the last week. Come see me, and we'll do a teach, and you'll walk away happy that you now know Fleet is better than Everdell.
Boom.
All I was going to say there is that Dan is the only one who hasn't played both games. And if we take Dan out of the equation when we all voted at the start, that's 4-all.
Mm.
4-all. So, man, this is going to be a great one. So
you're saying I've got a week to play Everdell now.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
All right. So that's it. Get out there and vote, guys. And with that, that is the end of this very, very, very long 100th episode. A huge thank you again to our sponsors and to all of our patrons, but also just everyone who listens to this podcast, everyone who's downloaded it. We've had over 50,000 of you since we started. It's just been incredible. It's, it was Shane's message at the end there of what your favorite moment was. It was, I left that for last for a reason, because for me, we did this because we wanted to do it, and we did it for us. And Def is, I call him my sensei because he reminds me of that quite often. But to think that we have such an impact on other people is incredible, because that's not what we got into this for. We got into this because we just wanted to talk about board games, and to think that we're giving that message out to other people, and other people are enjoying our content as much as they are. I don't know how to explain this. The Board Game Barbecue Podcast is, as far as in my life, as far as my priorities are concerned, it's like my number one priority. It's in front of my job.
In front of your mortgage.
It's definitely in front of my mortgage. Well, obviously family is different. Family is separate from that. But as far as things that I invest my time in, the Board Game Barbecue, if I'm not investing my time in it specifically, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about what the next episode's going to be like, or what's happening on the Discord, or and I feel sorry for my employer, because the amount of time I spend at work checking Discord or checking on the Facebook community, it's just been, people say, 100 episodes, that's amazing. I can't believe it's been 100 episodes, not because it's because we never thought we'd get here, but more the fact that it feels like a week ago that we started this. Like, it just, everything seems to have happened so quickly. We're running events, we're doing all this kind of stuff, but I just wanted to voice that, because we did this for us, and it means so much to so many more people, which I think is amazing. And but more importantly, the aid of you guys, it's just been, I have friends that live near me that I haven't seen since I've moved to Brisbane, because on the weekends I go and play board games. Or I hang out with you guys. So it's just been amazing, and I can't wait for the next 100, 200,000, whatever it takes, because it's just been the best experience.
Yep. Dan and I will be dead by then, but that's all right.
Yeah. I'll carry on your legacy, Mitch.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And Dan.
Thank you for doing that post, Steve. You brought us all together, mate. And, without you doing that first shout out, none of us would be here right now. So thank you, and looking forward to the next 100, mate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks,
absolutely.
Steve. And thanks to all of you guys.
Yeah, I've made lifelong friends now, I think. So we appreciate each and every one of you.
And with that lovely sentiment, we'll remind everyone that Mitch hates Mike because of Everdell versus Fleet the Dice game. Go and vote. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Cheers.
There you go.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.